the actual Twitch channel to see whether it's going.
30 years in the future.
Everywhere. Why not?
We are fighting a war.
Red unload.
Oh, fair bit.
See credit differently. With no interest, ever. The new NAB straight up card.
Ghost writing says fingerprints. Oni is EMF. Oni is EMF.
All right. It looks there was just a delay. There was just a delay. Looks like we're going. It looks like. All right. My cultured gentlemen, men of culture, we're here talking about spring 2020 anime season.
2021.
Spring 2021 anime season. I'm joined
we
by.
can do 2020 if you want. I can also do that.
I'm joined by Nathan from AVCON. Hello, Nathan. How you going?
I'm going.
Actually, I should have asked if you have a screen name or anything you wanted me to introduce you as. Do you have a handle, an internet handle that you prefer?
Just go back.
Go by what? Sorry.
Nathan. It'd be easier.
Nathan. Okay, Nathan from AVCON. And then we also have James, who actually I don't know what your affiliation is really anymore, James. James from watches anime in his house sometimes. And
you used to have affiliations, then got old and bitter, and so now just doesn't like
anime.
Now just watches anime, and he nowhere to talk about it. So we invited him.
Complain about how it's not as good as it used to be.
Like good old spring 2020 season. We miss those days.
Yeah, so not even like, I mean, starting was a serious joke, but I remember, was it last year or year before, my anime of the year was Azumanga Daioh, because I watched it for the first time during, like, it must have been last year because it was during COVID.
It's embarrassing enough to say Azumanga Daioh was your favorite. It's even more embarrassing when you were 10 years too late to that party.
I was like 20 years too late.
To be really honest with you, there was a particular site that went down, and I'm devastated because I can't watch the animes that I got into anymore because everything's a paid service, and it's like one particular server just happened to have every anime.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about because I watched it on Anime Lab, which still definitely exists. And it's
I'm talking more Kiss Anime back in the day.
Oh yeah,
where you could literally watch stuff from like the 80s and 70s.
But yeah, it was great. Like, you know, just showing my age here, it was lovely watching a 2004 anime and going, "Oh my god, yellow subtitles! I remember these. Aren't these so nostalgic?" And then about 30 seconds later, going, "These are terrible. I can't read these." When was this ever a good idea?
She is Azumanga Daioh anywhere. Can you still watch Azumanga Daioh? I don't actually know.
I watched it on my anime list. I watched it on my iPad while I was at the gym. It was good fun.
Did you get a mean pump while watching?
It's on Anime Lab.
Oh yeah, it is. I found it. Okay, you got a. Did you massive gains while listening to? Was it Chio-chan? Was that her name?
Yeah, Chio.
Did she spur you to pump some iron?
Yeah, definitely. And there was the teacher who did PE and the dumb literature teacher. It was great fun.
Well, actually, we should probably look at anime that's not 20 years old because that's what we're here for. So anime 2020. I'm just going by the my anime list. So the first one is Boku no Hero Academia 5th season. Has anyone kept up with My Hero Academia?
Yes, I have, and it is...
Actually, I think it's 25 episodes, so we're only actually halfway through this. This is going to continue into summer 2021.
Yeah, it definitely is continuing in.
Are you a manga reader? Do you know what's coming for the second half of this season? So the first half was basically the kids have a play date game against their rival class, Class 1B, the characters that no one could possibly care about. And they do a bunch of training episodes.
That's not true. I can't remember his name, but you've got the guy who's like super steel.
Oh yeah, he's a little
Kirishima who's hardening, and then they just face off, and it's really good to see the actual difference. Like they actually show the differences between being someone with a steel quirk and someone with a hardening quirk.
Wait, that happened. Okay, so I dropped off of Hero Academia. I'm surprised it's been 5 seasons already, but like it was the arc. It was either the season where they had a tournament, or the season where they were in a forest for a long time for, I think, a summer camp.
The summer camp happened after that, and there was
there was like a 6-year-old child who hates heroes. I was like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen with him.
Shota is amazing.
I swear, in the summer arc, they had Hardened Man versus Steel Man in what was clearly a rip-off of Episode 3 of Pokemon from 1997. Metapod versus Metapod.
Well, we have to know that if you wanted to dive back in, if you wanted to dive back in with Season 5, you have missed absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's a really slow burning anime. I typically wait until the end of the season because I don't like watching it episodically.
Like I can say,
I'm actually up to date with it.
I give My Hero Academia a lot of shit. The season we just had, the preceding 30 episodes were really lame, but the episodes we're getting is somewhat redeemable. The arc that they're just about to start, I think.
Yeah. If it's where I think they're going, then yes, absolutely.
I think it's they're not villains. They're some sort of cult kind of group. Evil. No, they're not. They're like revolutionaries of some sort. But there's an arc, and that's quite good. It's a lot better than what we just had, and I do like that the focus was on a character. It's this dude. Hold on, I'm clicking on stuff on my stream. I can't remember what he's called. There's it, Shinzo. This guy. Hold on. We do okay, I'm going to do Google image searches as we go, and just really hope that all the image searches come back nice and appropriate. All right, so it's this guy. He's kind of the focus, and it's funny because they make a big deal of him and how much potential. And I know because I'm up to date with the manga, he never comes up again. I don't think he's even in it past this point. So they made this big deal about how he's trying his best, he's got potential. He'll join the students in the hero class, and like I said, he's not in it ever again. Just like there's the subplot that there's
Deku in the tournament, right? Like, and his power is canceling powers.
No, his power is he can take over your mind.
That's right.
Yes, and like I said,
and
he doesn't come up again in the story at all. Just like they keep bringing up this plot point that there is a spy within the academy that's leaking details, and legitimately the mangaka completely forgot about this plot point. Even in an interview lately, they were like, "Oh yeah, so what's going on with the traitor at the high school? What's up with that, author?" And she's like, "Oh shit, I completely forgot I ever brought that up. All right, so I'm gonna come straight with you guys. There's no answer to that because."
Spoilers.
So spoilers, if you're really excited to know who was the traitor at the Hero Academy, it's no one because the author forgot about it.
The traitor was the friends we made along the way.
Do you say the traitors were the ones we made along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. Like with Hero Academia, it's season 5. It's superheroes, it's school stuff. By this point, you've either tried it and you love it, or you don't and you don't.
I think
I'm surprised the rating on
it's fantastic.
is 7.58. Like for a season 5, that would probably suggest that Mowen, you're right there, that it's kind of a bit of a weaker season. By the time people are writing season 5, they are committed to this show, and if they're putting it that low, that's a bit of a concern.
I know it's responsible for this new way of doing these long-running shonen anime, where things like One Piece and Naruto when it was on, and Bleach and all those other, it would just be a week to week to week to week thing. My Hero Academia was the first one that, instead of trying to really slow pacing and lots of filler stuff. Yeah, it would do traditional 24-episode seasons based on the manga, and then just have a massive break, and then just do another 24-episode season later on.
It's almost like they're trying to do what Black Clover didn't do.
Well, Black Clover has done. They've converted now because that stopped, and that's waiting
Black
for stuff to.
They had to because they were running out of material because the manga was only 3 chapters ahead.
Yeah, they went into a massive
I was
filler
reading
training
the
arc.
manga and watching the show, and I was just like, oh, I know what happened. This happened like 2 weeks ago.
It caught up with the manga, and did a massive 3-month filler arc, and then it caught up to the manga again in 3 episodes.
Do a One Piece thing, just dude, take a break, take a breath.
So yeah, if you're on the fence about My Hero Academia, don't watch the season that just passed. First half at least. Second half, I can say is probably going to be a bit better. But yeah, if you've made up your mind,
it's really good leading up to what it's doing. But
I think at this stage, either
really
you're on board.
Know what's happening.
You're on board Academia or you're not, so I don't think...
I'm going to go back to what Nathan said at the very beginning where he waited till the whole season was out. With these sort of shows in general, that's pretty good advice. Maybe not the whole season, but just arcs.
Yeah.
Wait until the arc is done, then watch the arc in one big... You'll often find that, the last 5 minutes of episode 2 is the same as the first 15 minutes of episode 3, because they do a lot of flashbacks and recapping, so you can skip through it pretty quick, and, at this stage, if you're not already watching it, maybe just wait till it's finished and then watch it in one go.
Yeah, what is it? When I look at an anime season, I genuinely have a look at the poster art before I do anything. And if I feel like I'm going to enjoy it, I'll watch episode 1. But there are a few that stick out in the synopsis where you're just like, I really want to watch it, but it's going to annoy me to watch it week by week. So you can, depending on how well it's worded, you could hold off.
Well, then just keep in mind that if anyone watches this stream and hears us talking, that we might be the make or break point whether someone sits down with all this anime that's just concluded.
Yeah.
So, alright, so here we have Nagatoro. The English title was Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. No, Japanese is Ijara Naide Nagatoro-san. I can't read that, but close enough. Alright, so this was probably one of the most talked about new season when this whole season started. Because it's about a wimpy little boy that basically gets his nuts stomped by...
He's in high school. He's 16 probably?
He's portrayed as a nervous, sad little boy.
He's not a little boy.
Who finds out he loves getting his nuts stomped on by
the thirst is real.
little tanned girls. This was a weird one.
Hey guys, I had to tap out within 5 minutes.
I've
seen some snippets of it, but it's just not.
I know
that's fair.
I have a line, but
I think this is the same person that before we started streaming claimed how much they liked redo of Healer, but Nagatoro-san seems like it was too much. I know it got some...
I watched it for the plot.
People were upset / turned on by the concept of, I don't know, masochism? I guess.
Well, I don't know if it's that. So, I think, to address the elephant in the room, episode 1 is terrible. It is just flat out bullying. The guy is a piece of shit loser with absolutely no redeeming qualities, and Nagatoro is just a bully who abuses him. It is probably not only the worst, but the least representative for episode 1 of a show that I've seen since Food Wars, Shogeki no Soma, how that's pronounced, where episode 1 of that was just basically almost hentai, and then the rest of the show was nothing at all like that. This is the same. I feel this is quite similar, where that episode 1 is atrocious. I would recommend anyone skip it and just watch episode 2, and see what that's like, because it's a lot more playful. It's a lot more whatever the opposite of mean-spirited is. Like, it's coming from a nicer place.
Yeah. So
And
the
it's
basic.
much better. The ending is pretty dumb.
It was always gonna be. It was always gonna be a dumb ending. For those, the concept is, you have this boy. He's very shy. He's very he's otaku aligned. And
it's almost like they're trying to do a gag film for the studio.
And he meets this girl who's an underclassman, and she, for some reason, takes a shine to him and bullies him with various. Most of them probably can be classified as some form of sexual harassment. I would probably say.
I think it's physical assault as most of it, but like it's kind of a thing of like he learns to be more outgoing, have more confidence in himself. She learns to be less of a dick, and
sort of. She's
friends
still
are doing it kind of shitty. She it kind of goes on. She a lot of playing around and teasing and that sort of thing.
Yeah, the reason you'd continue to watch it, because I felt that maybe the shtick for the entire season was just going to be her teasing him and him getting flustered continuously. What you watch it for is it becomes obvious quickly that she doesn't treat other boys in the same way. She doesn't, tease them or get all sort of flustered, hyperactive around them. So it's obvious that she actually likes him, and her teasing is how she shows that. And she does kind of calm some of it down a little bit as it goes. And he, like James said, kind of gets some more confidence, but he kind of realized that, he enjoys her company. And that's the heart of the show, I guess.
Yeah, like the heart of the show are the scenes where she's just picking on him, like take it or leave it, the dime a dozen, whatever. The ones where either he gives it back a bit, or someone else, like one of her friends, tries to bully him as well, and then she gets defensive. Like particularly like whenever there's like a third player in there making from the duo to a trio, that's when there's those little moments of gold where it's like, oh, like the people they were in episode 2, because we don't talk about episode 1, they have developed as characters over the course of 10 episodes or whatever, 5 episodes even though there isn't really much of a story. It's all, kind of like, I don't know if slice of life is technically the right label for it, but like, they're all kind of non-connected scenes from whenever over the course of a school year. And they still grow, which is nice to see in an anime.
Yeah, I'm sure they're angling for... I know this is based on... I think it's a manga, or if it's
no.
It was...
Yeah,
I know the artist is a famous... sort of hentai artist who did a lot of doujins and kind of graduated to being like their own.
Common.
And I'm sure there's enough story, and I'm sure they're angling for more seasons. So if there's one thing I can say is, like James said, the first episode is pretty terrible, and I thought that the whole shtick of the show would be just he teases him, he gets flustered, she laughs. They do, their relationship does progress a little bit, like I said before, but then unfortunately for like the rest of the season, their shtick is she teases him, he gets flustered, she laughs, he says something sweet, she gets flustered, and they both get flustered, and then that sort of, it didn't progress more past that. Once it sort of got a little bit of progression, you're like, oh, they're building a relationship, they're getting to know each other, but then that kind of stops, and it's just that routine for the rest of it.
That limbo in the...
Go, Nathan.
You broke up a bit there.
Oh, sorry. I think the thing is, like, this is the third one I can think of, maybe the fourth, where it's like weak-willed boy being dominated by a younger girl. Like, we had that Takagagi one with the kindergarten and the girl with the big forehead. Then we had that Sugoi Des one with the huge boobs.
Usagi-chan wants to play.
This is the least bad, least problematic, most interesting one. And I also like I like it and support it like on principle because of the fact that all of the female characters are drawn like normal humans, and also the fact that like this is one of the first dark-skinned protagonists since like Berserk. Like I think that's a thing that is like should be supported in this industry.
So this is a realistic looking. These are realistic looking people to you, James.
mean, like, this is, again, like, compared to what's in most anime, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
they are...
Like a 15-year-old looks like a 15-year-old. None of this like triple E bullshit.
Yeah, like...
Like they're not there for the fan service, aside from their attitude.
Yeah,
Except
like,
for all the scenes where they corner him
they're there
and...
to be characters, they're not there to be eye candy. Like, they make jokes about boobs maybe 2 or 3 times in the whole show, which is...
They hold the main character down and force him to grab their breast. That's...
Like, it's a minor point, and like most of the boob stuff is like A-cut banks from Nagatoro, and then I guess actually no, the final story, which I've already blanked out.
Oh yeah,
a lot of
that's the one note I wanted to bring up. The final storyline has him competing against the art club president, who last year wowed the entire school by literally doing a nude portrait of herself, and then competes against him this year by doing another nude portrait of herself. I don't know how I feel about that. About a 16-year-old girl who it's not that she just did it once. It's like she keeps going on and on about art has to have passion and meaning and stuff. But she just draws herself naked like again for the second year in a row. Like, even if you can stomach that she did it the first time, it's like, wouldn't an artist like want to graduate and maybe try something new rather than just draw herself naked again? So that was a bit weird. Also, I don't know if anyone can see this stream for all the realistically drawn characters going on.
That's a beautiful
Was that like
screen right there?
The president, right? Like everyone else in our club just left to do exams, and then because the story had to have some sort of villain for a final arc, they randomly bring her back, and then she decides to just shut the art club because no one's coming when that was their choice. It's like, it really just annoyed me that they had to force in a 4-episode final arc, and they couldn't just have little snippets self-contained, like Daily Lives of High School Boys or Asobi Asuke, where just they don't need to have a manufactured conflict. They can just have characters do character things.
I assumed it was the president, was basically just trying to like motivate him by like threatening, and at the end he was going to be like, "Oh, I never wanted to close your art club. I was just making sure that I lit a fire under you." But I don't think that was the case. I think she legitimately was going to close it up. Alright, so I would probably rate Nagatoro 6 out of 10? 6? That's a okay score.
That's strong 6, if any.
I wouldn't watch it again, and if there's a second season, I would take it or leave it. Alright, so, Fumetsu no Anatae, or was it To Your Eternity? To Your Eternity. This was the big hype train. The big. This is going to be a modern day classic. Everyone was trying to hype this show up at the start of the season. What did we think? How did it turn out? Did it live up to that expectation?
I have not yet seen it because it's on that list of this is too heavy to watch week by week.
The first episode is heavy. It gets significantly less heavy the longer it goes on. Not that there aren't heavy moments. It's got the first episode, which is more or less self-contained. Then the next maybe 5 episodes, which form its own little arc, and then the rest of the series. And there are heavy moments, but like I don't think it's as heavy as the first episode makes it out to be.
Okay. I'm looking forward to watching this in its entirety.
I found myself looking. I can't say that I thought it was amazing, but like when the new episode came out, I always found myself kind of just looking forward to watching it. So it did make some sort of impression on me. So it's about an orb that some sort of Abrahamic godlike figure creates and throws onto Earth with the expectation that if it touches a living being, it can transform into that being. So it first of all it turns maybe not even living beings, because I think it turns into a rock first up, and then it turned into moss, and then luckily a dog died on it, so it could turn into the dog, and then it meets the dog's owner. It can turn into the dog's owner. The dog's owner doesn't have that nicer time, let's say, and then it's kind of just his adventure, just wandering and meeting people as he goes. I know the manga has been going for like a long time, and I think.
Well, that's promising.
I think from what I've gathered, I specifically didn't read too much about it, that because he's immortal, it's just like him drifting through life and time, just meeting people and places as he goes and learning things.
Sometimes that's just really nice to watch in an anime, where it's not everything all up in your face like My Hero Academia. Like, you just get to sit back and enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I think the pacing was a little bit off, because there were some episodes where it was completely like just sit back and shoot the shit and, you know, daily life of peasants, and then the next episode it would go into a really sort of hardcore, something would happen and now he's with a completely different character in place, and then it would just shoot the shit and do the daily life of villagers for another like 5 episodes before anything else happened. So pacing was a bit off.
Yeah.
I think especially from the last 10 episodes, you could cut a lot of it out and condense it to make it a bit more interesting. Did you watch this one, James? Is James even still there? Have we lost James?
Is he alive? He's probably saying something, and like we're just not hearing.
Why can't you hear me? Interesting.
I can hear you now, but I couldn't hear you
Okay.
before. I hope you weren't talking about this too much.
No, I tried to say a thing twice, and I was like, I haven't understood. I watched 2, maybe 3 episodes of this. It really confused me why this got so big, because it was really the same concept as Kino's Journey and a few other shows where it's just a character going through places and everything is meant to be self-contained one-off stories that don't have a lot of depth or nuance. There's maybe a bit of a learning lesson behind. We had, what was it? The Witch's Journey, Elena's Journey, maybe 2 seasons back, which is the same thing. Where the twist with this one, it was that the guy was going through time rather than space, and it seemed like it was going to be hopefully it had progressed, 100,000 years over the course of the 12 episodes. But then I think it must have been episode 3 when they were still doing the same thing as episode 2, and like one of the main storyline was how like a 7-year-old girl was like, I don't want to die because death sucks. It's like, okay, like this is baby's first nihilism. Just watch Girls Last Tour from maybe 3 years ago. It's the same thing but better, and also still not great. People like it. That's good for them. But I just didn't understand why this grabbed. Like, it's not a well-known. Who made it? Is it a particularly well-known studio? None of the VAs are particularly well-known. It's not a well-established franchise to my knowledge.
No, Anata. Like I said, all I know is that it is like a very long-running anime manga series. 15 volumes. From 2016. It's sort of long-running, I suppose.
Yeah, Brain's Base is decent. It's like it's.
I really like the first episode. The next section with the little girl and the bear god and the bigger tribe trying to, I would maybe cut an episode's worth out of that little short arc. But then the rest of it, for some reason, like those are fairly short little stories, and then the last 2/3 is I forget what his name is, the dude with the lizard, the snake lizard helmet. And in his life, for some reason, his life was worth talking about for 80% of the runtime, even though he's the least interesting character they come across.
Like, was this show co-financed by Crunchyroll or something? Like, is that why it got all the promotion?
I think it was Anime Lab as well. Licenses. None found. I'm pretty sure that's not correct, my anime list.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll just have a look. I got the app. Because everyone has these days.
Yeah, like it's a slower one. It's a bit of melancholy. It's a bit of nihilism. It's I don't know. Like if you haven't encountered these things before, I can see why it would take off and be good. But like, this it's not The Simpsons did it, but it's been done before. But that doesn't mean that it's bad in and of itself. It's fine. Like
It just hits that middle ground. It's like, what is it? You can almost say the same thing. Like some people say the same thing about SAO. Is that it's still a good anime, but it's not as good as the hype train.
anyone who says SAO was good after the first 5 episodes is objectively wrong.
Anyone who says SAO was good is objectively wrong.
It had a really good opening 5 to 6 episodes, then it went bad.
Like, they lost me at season 2 when he was able to go into another game at max level and dominate it in like 3 days.
Yeah,
You can go plus.
I will respectively disagree. All right, so I'll give To Your Eternity a 7. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Fuck, man, your numbers are whack. This is stupid. All right, it's fine.
You disagree with
I think I would say if I didn't know if I knew someone liked anime, I would recommend they watch Nagatoro before they watch For Your Eternity. If I didn't know they liked anime, I'd probably recommend For Your Eternity, Nagatoro.
All right. The next one on the list is Tokyo Revengers.
Now this one I did watch, and I feel happier for it.
I quite liked Tokyo Revengers.
It was fantastic. The premise was there. It wasn't like stupid.
Now, obviously, for long-time anime fans, know that the concept has been used a couple of times before, not to the best effect. It's about a loser who works at a shitty store where his manager's like 10 years younger than him. He lives alone in like a shitty apartment. He's a virgin, and he sees on TV that his I don't even think it's high school. I think it's like middle school. Middle school sweetheart has been run over by an evil mafia. I guess I don't know. I think they're mafia by that point.
Describe it right.
Basically, he learns he can go back in time to when he was in middle school, and him and his friends were bright-eyed. Because he's disappointed in how badly his life turned out. But he finds out that for whatever reason, his girlfriend, who he's still with in the past, his little brother, if they ever make skin contact, he goes back and forward through time. So it's the quest to go back in time and try and change the past, so that the gang of innocent, playful teen delinquents don't turn into like a murder mafia and kill his girlfriend. I guess there would be Yakuza, but they're just like they're just motorcycle delinquents in the past. But I guess at some point they graduate to being super hardcore.
Like they'd be Yakuza, but they wouldn't be called Yakuza because I think there's like media laws against promoting Yakuza.
It's basically. So there's a huge history about motorcycle gangs in Japan, like the reference. Now, the whole purpose of this anime is that it's the well wishes of the motorcycle gang that you follow is that they're going to change the way everything is run. They don't like how things are being. Why are we looking at this?
Because this is the episode where Jesse and James were in a bike gang. Because when I think of anime bike gangs, that's the first place my mind goes.
Like, it's got a deep history behind it, and basically these kids want to bring back the reason why motorcycle gangs were what they were. None of this like super, I'm going to beat you up because I want to beat you up, or I want to kill you because I want to kill you. It's like, they believe that the motorcycle gang stood for a purpose, and that purpose is not to spill over into the real world, but stay in the underworld.
Yeah, the show does a good job of shouting the high moral upstanding that high school delinquents should adhere to, and how badly the world of high school motorcycle gangs has fallen, and we got to bring back the prestige of high school delinquency.
Yeah, from someone who really enjoyed Great Teacher Onizuka, which came out in the late 80s, early 90s. It was a really good throwback to that style of anime where it's just there's a reason why they're doing what they're doing. And then when you go to the future, there are key points in the past that each protagonist can go back to and can try and change.
Yeah, he has to go and make sure that the biker gang leader doesn't become doesn't get bad influences and start hanging around with the wrong people.
Yeah, try and keep away from people who...
I'm making this sound way lamer than it actually is.
It's a fantastic anime. It's one of the highlights of the season in my personal opinion.
I actually would have to agree. It's definitely my top 3 anime this season, Tokyo Revengers.
Looking at the poster and reading the synopsis, it didn't really give me much. But then I saw a little video of one of the fist fights on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. And then they were about 6 episodes in, and I was hooked. They were about 9 episodes in, and I was hooked. Yeah. And I watched it back to back without even thinking. And
I do, as a story device, the whole go back in time to change the past thing, and finding out what in the past affected the future, and how things turned out, and things you find in the present, and you go back to the past and you find that find how things had changed, or the cause and effect. I like that stuff, and this this show didn't shit the bed like a certain other show.
That cause and effect is what made this really cool, especially considering that when normally you deal with this, it's normally just you that notices the differences. But the fact that there are others who understand what's actually happening and going, well, what the fuck?
James hasn't offered an opinion for a while, which is strange. So I'm gonna guess that
his mic dropped out again.
He dropped out again. Because I'm pretty sure, if not Tokyo Revengers, I'm sure he's got something to say about Erased, which is what everyone compares this to. But this, like I said,
I haven't seen it.
It was this I liked. And he comes back and forth from the future to see if what he changed had any, practical effect.
Yeah.
Hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
I can hear you now, yay!
Okay, well, I've changed to a different fucking microphone. Apparently what's working. So this show, I watched episode 1 and I loved it, but it had a huge red flag for me, which is time travel. Because 99% of things with time travel end up having a shit ending that makes no sense. The only exceptions I can think of on the top of my head are Back to the Future and Steins Gate. But Steins Gate 0 was bad, Erased was terrible, Game of Thrones sucked shit. Time travel almost always ends terribly. And when it's a great show up to that point, it makes the pain of that bad ending worse. I'm looking at you, Erased. Erased was so good up until that second last episode. Then it shit the bed so bad. Oh my god.
I think Tokyo Revengers.
I really loved it, and you've really sold it to me. But I cannot in good conscience start this show or get invested in it until it's finished, and people tell me that it didn't end terribly.
Yeah. Now I know for a fact that this was only the first, I think, probably half of a season, because it has finished on a cliffhanger and with a note, it will be back. So the episodes we've got haven't shit the bed so far. So I can't quite yet vouch that this is gonna use the time travel plot to a satisfying conclusion. But I don't think it's gonna be as complicated. The mysteries. I think it's leading up that it keeps mentioning that there was the second in command in the future of the biker gang was a bad guy. So I think it's basically the leader, Mikey, had a friend who kept him sort of in line and on the steady path, who died, and then he hooked up with a bad guy, and the bad guy, you know, did him wrong, took him down a dark path. So I think the first half was stop the good guy from dying, and then the second half is going to be stop the bad guy from being a bad guy. So there isn't quite as...
There's one thing that I really enjoyed from this anime. It's the character development to the point where he doesn't just change his stride. Like, he's still a coward, but he's trying so hard to do the right thing that every time he goes, okay, I can do better, he almost falls back into his old way. But then he still tries to push
He's
through.
trying so hard to save that mad future puss.
Yeah, exactly. Like, wouldn't you?
That's what this is all about. It's just making sure that he can get laid in the future.
Like, he could literally solve his problems by just taking her out of that situation. Like, take her out of the system. Like, just give up the delinquent life and walk away with her, and then everyone's safe.
Yeah, it's I guess one of those things where, like, it has to be a case of whatever contrivances they have are believable and make sense. And, like, you know, the things that have worked in this genre of Star Trek and Back to the Future are arguably some of the greatest pieces of entertainment ever made. So if it does stick the landing, it's in good company and will probably be equally great. But just the odds are not stacked in its favor.
I think Steins Gate was just over the top weird. Like, the stuff that they had to change, in the stuff that, you know, changed between future and past, was that confusing and weird in some points that you could just go over the top. Something like this, where it's basically just people's relationships with each other, like stop one person from being an influence and stop another person from not being an influence. So that's the two ends of the scale. This is really simple. It's just changing influences and changing who people associate with. Steins Gate is change shit for changing shit and weird shit. Something like Erased, where it was in that middle ground where there was more to it. There's a lot of stuff that happened that beyond just people's relationships. I don't know. I don't think Tokyo Revengers can get that off the rails. That it's not going to be either interesting or stupid.
Knock on wood. Straight up, knock on wood, because anything can happen in anime, and I'm horrified to see what's going to happen if it goes the wrong.
I'm going to give Tokyo Revengers an 8.
That's a solid agree. Like, it was enjoyable from episode 1 all the way through, and there was no mucking about. Recommend it.
All right, so this might be a bit of a controversial one. Hige wa suru, soshite joshikosei wa hiru. I hope I said that right. Or, after being rejected, I shaved and took in a high school runaway.
Who watched it?
This is a weird one. I watched it. I watched it reluctantly. It was because of the stuff I watched. Most stuff came out on the weekend. I think this came out on a Thursday or Friday, along with like one other thing. So when I checked what was out. It's like, oh, like 2 shows. All right, I guess I'll watch it because it's not competing with anything. It's
like this was very weird because this show, like, this came out in the same season as another show. It's named like Koi something. It's like, not only is there one show about a early to mid 30s bloke taking in and hitting on a high school girl, there's 2 of them. What is going on here? So we ended up like watching both of them to see which is worse.
The other one would definitely be worse. I only just watched the last episode. It stuck the landing, sort of.
No.
In terms of...
Highly disagree.
So the concept was, this like 30-year-old guy on his way home after being rejected by a woman he had a thing for, finds a teenage girl like lying in the street, and he's kind of drunk, and she basically says, I'm homeless, I've run away from home, if you let me stay at your house for a while, I will let you fuck me. and she's kind of done that a couple of times in terms of just surviving by letting guys fuck her for a while until they get bored, basically, and she has a place to sleep for a few days. So this guy, he is a true gentleman, true gentleman, who takes her in and doesn't do anything with her. He
literally just gives her a leg up.
So he teaches her life lessons. He gives her confidence. He shows her the light of humanity and encourages her to face her problems, and you find out why she ran away and what her home situation was. So it's really in the subtext and the between the line stuff. Now, obviously, this doesn't seem to turn up that much in Western media and culture, as far as I know. But there are apparently laws in America, in Japan, that you can't just take in a minor. It's very illegal. I guess maybe it happens a lot. But yeah. So one, it's illegal what he's done. Whether he touches her or not, taking in a teenage girl into your home is illegal, and it's weird. Like, straight up, it's just weird.
It's shunned upon in society.
Now, obviously, he doesn't do anything to her. And they do all the way through hint that they do have feelings for each other, because she respects him as a good guy. He just likes her because she's a cute teenage girl. But luckily, by the end of the episode, apart from that after credit scene where it's like 2 years later and they meet again and you don't know what happens after that, but taking that aside, they never go down the route of actually we never did dirty stuff, but our love is pure, so we're going to get together. They kind of keep out of each other's pants right until the end, which is good, because a couple of times during the season I'm like, they're going to end up together, aren't they? They're going to go through all this rigmarole about how it's inappropriate and how you have to do all this stuff and be a good person, but they're going to end up together, aren't they? And they mostly didn't. But it still kind of has that underlying message that it's okay to take in and groom a teenage girl as long as you're a gentleman about it.
Like, my biggest take from this anime was that final episode genuinely annoyed me. Because it's like, here we have an anime where we're just going a little bit against the grain when you're looking at a teenage girl, right? When it just, like, because there are so many other possibilities where it's not illegal, right? And it's like, you shouldn't feel like your protagonist needs to get with a younger person or anything like that. Like, there are people obviously showing signs that they want to be with him, but then in that last episode, it was like a huge roller coaster of emotions with her family when they get involved, and it's like, okay, he's doing the right thing by putting his trust into the people on her end and walking away. Now,
that last episode laid it on way too thick. The whole, he's bowing in front of the mother and he gives that huge speech. I was just like, this is laid it on too thick.
So heavy. And
I think, James, you haven't offered up your opinion. I'm pretty sure that we've lost you again. If you want to restart, because
I haven't tried to say. I'm letting you guys watch this. I tapped out on episode 8.
Okay, so you didn't see it all, but you've got some opinions, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have many opinions. Like, one, obviously, the age thing is fucked. They shouldn't get together. Like, let's just put that aside. She doesn't love him. She is having, like, a Stockholm syndrome to the first human who showed her anything close to respect. Like, this isn't love. This idea that all of a sudden this guy who, like, I mean, I guess it's a good message to, hey, any men out there listening to this, if you have some hygiene, women will be interested in you. That doesn't mean that suddenly all of them will appear out of the woodwork and jump down your throat like they do in this anime. But, ironing your shirts is a good idea. Shaving's a good idea if you want to attract some people of either gender. That's good. But the thing that fucking annoyed me so much is that this girl is an inexplicable idiot. So in episode 7 or 8, when I think where I watched, she's working in a convenience store. This is like maybe the most pedantic problem, but this is what fucking got me off the show. Is that she's working in a convenience store. She's a runaway from a spoilers really rich family.
Yeah.
And then so she goes into work, and then her colleagues are like, "Hey, this mysterious car has been scoping out this place. I wonder what's that about." She has no idea. She doesn't pretend. She doesn't realize what it could be. She doesn't, just oblivious. Then all of a sudden, her brother gets out of the car. Her brother, who's the CEO of a big company in Osaka or something, and they're in Tokyo, which, to my understanding, is very far away from each other. Don't do geography. A long way away. It's like, wow, like my, and then he walks into the store, and it's like, and her honest, legitimate reaction is like, why is my brother, the CEO of this company, walking into this store right now? Like, because he's looking for you. Because he's looking for you. Where do you think he is? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what is going on? So yeah,
one thing that really annoyed me about that store is the fact that she's working with a bloke that she used to live with, right? Straight up, any society, you get the fuck out of Dodge because you don't want that shit on your fucking suit, right? I don't care who you are, like, there's plenty of convenience stores in the area, bugger off, like...
Yeah, that character, is it this dude, he was really only in it for the middle, and his little arc was quite sort of rapey undertones, and he kind of he wasn't in it for much, but he kind of had a little bit of a redemption arc at the end before he was kind of forgotten about as a character, which was really weird.
But again, if you're that big of a fucking prick, like, like, as soon as I saw it, like, personally, if I would have seen his face in that store, I would have run for him. Fuck that.
It did teach a good message that if you have any contact with a teenage girl, the default reaction would have no sexual interaction with her. I guess that's a lesson it had to teach this day and age. But yeah,
but that wasn't the default reaction. Like, him not having sex with her was lampshaded, not even lampshaded, just in the text of the story, an unusual reaction because that's what everyone else was doing. Like, this is. Can we move on? This is a bad show. Like,
all right, yeah. So
this was one of those animes which was looking really promising about actually going against the norm, and then it just flowed with every other plot line around.
Arguably, it did go against the norm, but not really in the. I guess in a good way, but in a bad way as well. Like, by default, that's the way it should have gone.
It was a good message done poorly.
What good message? Like, get with the person who's half your age and a child. No, that's not a good message.
No, it's the message that if a teenage girl throws herself at you, you have to be a hero and go against the grain by not sleeping.
Yeah, but you do that so that and then in the end you're rewarded by having her become your wife. Like, that's the message here. Like,
all right, I give this show I'm giving it a 4.
I think this has there's obviously a lot of cultural baggage is maybe too mean of a term of how Japan views relationships between men and women and the acceptable age differences between, having older men getting with younger women. Like, and I think just coming from where we are as our culture, that is obviously just not as accepted. So like that is
highly biased to that.
Yeah. I do like some of the themes of positive older male role models on young women as father figures and not as obviously as a father of a young girl. That was sort of a good, but all the other undertones were a bit. It diluted whatever it's trying to say by having this really weird sexual undertone / I don't know. He's being put up on a pedestal by being a model citizen for not doing what probably everyone would know you shouldn't be doing in the first place.
Yeah, that's why I like the cultural. Congratulations. Here is because we expected to do something different and interesting, but it doesn't because of where it's coming from, being a Japanese show. But yeah, move on.
All right,
move
so
on.
I give that a 4. All right, next we have 86.
Fantastic. Absolutely, well and truly, would recommend.
Sorry, did you say Code Geass, but with a girl?
Code Geass had lots of girls. This show is getting a second season that it desperately needs, because there's a lot of kind of cool concepts that I'm really interested in finding out about that just wasn't in this. So the concept is there's a Republic of, it says right there, Republic of San Mongolia, and they are at war with the Gyadanian Empire, and they both have unmanned drones that fight each other, and you're told that in the first episode, and then almost instantly you're told that the San Mongolians, no, their drones are piloted by basically minorities. So everyone that lives in the San Mongolia Empire are all white-skinned, pale white skin with purple hair and purple eyes. And all the minorities that lived in all around the place have all been bundled up into the 86th district and are made to pilot their war mechs. Now, it tells you this pretty much straight away, and I don't think it's ever meant to be surprising. It's not like there's a big reveal where it's like someone discovers like, oh no, they're not unmanned at all. Like, the people who are the handlers, they all know that they're piloted by people. And I think some of the public kind of know as well, but no one kind of cares. So it never has that moment where it tries to keep it a secret and make it a big reveal. And the main character, who I can't remember her name was, because she doesn't have much personality.
86, I assume. That's her name, right?
No, what was her name? I don't think even the synopsis.
I think it's pretty telling that you don't know the name of the main character.
Is it
I like how
Milsey?
it's literally the first word in that paragraph.
Yeah, that there. I even reading it does. I don't recognize it. Milsey. I don't know.
Yeah.
So she starts off. She knows full well that there are. But she takes over this elite group of veterans. And I don't know what she does. She's the handler, which means she goes to her little office and she telepathically looks over the battlefield. And she suggests, sometimes she suggests that they do stuff, but most of the time they do what they want to do on their own anyway. So I don't know what her purpose is other than kind of just to be there.
I think that's just it.
And it tells you.
They're so accustomed to war.
It tells you straight up that she knows from the get-go that they're not unmanned drones. But she gets more concerned over the death and the loss of life as it goes, sort of. And she gets to know them a little bit better as people. And part of the plot... Now, there are two kind of plots. No, 3 plots. 2 of them are really boring and obvious. And 1 is what I want to know about. So her realization that, you know, these are people, and she gets to know them, and she starts to think, wow, war is so bad, we shouldn't be killing these people or letting them die. That's one plot thread that runs through this, and it's as generic and white bread as you can get. The 86ers themselves, they live in this little shanty kind of village and the outskirts, and, you know, they all know that they're going to die, and for some reason they don't hold that much, they kind of hold a petty grudge against their Aryan overlords, and they'll call them pigs, but then they'll say that they don't mind dying for the Republic because they're still citizens and they still want to fight the good fight, which is weird and stupid. And that's the sort of second plot, is just their daily lives and how they feel about things. Again, that's kind of stupid. The only thing that I'm interested about is the other stuff, like who is the other empire they're at war with. They all think that the other empire's drones will stop in 2 years because of some reason, I don't remember. But you find out that
basically the drones themselves are like almost self-manufacturing. So basically, the only way that they get a leg up is by cutting the heads off.
Well, yeah, everyone thinks that in 2 years all unmanned drones are just going to stop. I can't remember what their reasoning is. It's like in Futurama where things had a preset kill limit, and that's how they defeated them, by just sacrificing their men until they reached a kill limit and stopped working. But in the middle, you find out that these unmanned drones have been stealing the brains out of fallen soldiers and like somehow recreating like some sort of like super drone to like control them.
They're called steppers.
And
so the shepherds tactically throw out where the other drones are going. But the shepherds themselves are actually like really scary because they're unpredictable.
So the mystery over why are they fighting, what the drones are doing, and you know what was the cause of this war? Because that's mysterious, and that's what I want to know about. Like, why are these things fighting, and they're repopulating themselves by stealing the brains of fallen soldiers to kind of keep themselves going past this limit that they have. I want to know about that stuff. If the second season is more about that stuff, then maybe I'll be a little bit more interested. But what they had in this first season was really bland and really obvious. It didn't challenge any boundaries. It wasn't really emotional. It was just a little bit.
Yeah. I think the call to basically like the realization of the handler going, oh wait, you're all supposed to die.
Yeah, that was
well,
kind of interesting.
What did you expect? Like, they got 6 months left of their service. The only way that they won't be able to go back into society is if they die in the field. Like,
but that was like something that happened in an episode, but it was in no way the point of it. You know, the concept was that, you know, they serve in the military for 2 years, and then they get out of the military and return home. But they're the icky minorities. We don't want them returning. So basically, if it looks like they're getting a little bit too close to their end of service point, they get put in this like suicide squad basically. And you know, the main character, even though that's kind of obvious really early, the main character, the chick, finds out. She's like, "Oh no!" And they're all like, what you gonna do?" And then that's that plot point dealt with. It's like, yeah, that would have been a lot more interesting, had a lot more impact if that was relevant to anything, but it's not. They just accept it and they just move on. They're like, that's life for you.
Yeah, but I think if they do bring it back for a second season, I'm hoping that they actually focus on the fact that the war is not going to finish where they want it, because they've just literally Nazis themselves.
Yeah, so the story of the war and who, like, why do they want this racial purity besides the obvious, like, weird Nazis? Like, any of those story elements behind the world building stuff, the story behind the world and what's happening. This is one of those ones where that's a lot more interesting than any of the kind of character stuff that they tried to do.
There's no point in building a character that you're going to see die off.
So I would give it a 6, with the proviso that I am actually kind of a little bit interested if they do a second series in for some of the other stuff, other plot points that they've kind of introduced and where that's going.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, Vivi, Fluorite Eyes Song.
I give it a 2 for being boring and unoriginal.
Oh.
It's by the by. Don't watch it.
And yeah.
Time travel one.
Sorry, we hadn't really been following the chat, but
sorry, time skip.
Hello the Duke. I care about you, even if Mowen doesn't.
So I can see.
I like how he has the word nut.
86 was not a popular choice in the chat apparently. Vivi, Fluorite Eyes Song. I'm really annoyed about the title because it's obviously a Japanese person trying to use English words to make something that sounds meaningful, but they've ended up just making something that sounds stupid. Fluorite Eyes Song.
Great. It's fucking great.
The title is bad, but the show was really good.
It's
very, very
interesting.
Hard
to follow when you like, you'd have to sit down and watch each episode for what it is. Like, it's not one that you can just watch back to back, because you're going to be sitting there going, well, what the fuck happened in the last 15 years?
as far as the actual overall plot goes, there's a couple of episodes at the beginning, a couple of episodes at the end that bookcase the story, but most of the episodes are kind of individually contained stories of the day.
Yeah, so this kind of does the same thing that For Your Eternity does, where like this is a story that's told over 100 and something years, and you're getting these little moments, and like I think it was done really well. I also really liked how the art style of the animation was so atypical. The OP, they did some cool stuff with the OP, kind of changed most episodes. Like it was just
just upload. Oh, cool. I'm awesome.
Yeah, like it was great. Like it was, and I think also I'm 99% sure it was an original story as well, which we don't see enough of. Like I think that's why it had a good overall story was because it was made for an anime, and so it was made to go for 12 episodes, 13 episodes, and then finish. And then no, we're not advertising a manga here. We're telling a whole story. We need to sell them Blu-rays.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff also just happened in the chat, and I'm not really sure what happened. Nothing we did. I think that was automatic chatbots that might have done something in the chat for whatever the hell just happened there. Yeah, I really like this. I hate As You Like My Pleasure, which is the opening line from the theme song, because it's borderline not quite English, and she says with such conviction that it should be a really powerful statement, but it just doesn't sound right. But apart from the title of this anime and the opening line of the theme song, yeah, it is
really quick on the opening. How did you guys find the fact that each opening was at a bigger stage? Because I thought that was a really good transition of time.
I felt that I don't think I actually noticed that.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be honest, I only noticed that in episode 10 because I normally do. I watch the opening of the first episode to see if it's a good song. I watch the ending, the same thing, and then I'll just skip it until I get towards the end of the show. Then I go, oh yeah, I should watch it now because it might be the last time I ever hear the song. And then I noticed, hey, it looks different. And then I went back and had a look at them. Yeah, those are really good little touches.
I didn't notice it until you told me literally now.
Because the whole drive of the anime in episode 1 to see Diva on the stage, because Vivi is the funny one. And
yeah, Vivi and Diva are kind of the same, but different at different points in the series. They're more defined.
I like that Vivi was given to her by her biggest fan at the start of the show, and she kept using Diva while in the park. But when she was outside the park, she just decided on her own, you can call me Vivi. Why?
They are the same person, they're just really different sides of her personality, but at one stage they are separate people.
Yeah. That was that episode 2 with the plane explosion? Like that was like, holy shit, I can't believe they did that.
So
yeah, that hurt.
So the story of this one is we see the robot apocalypse, where for whatever reason all the AIs go crazy and start killing everyone, and the scientist sends back a AI consciousness to the past to engage, I think she's the first AI, because she's still around in the future. She's lasted all this time, but this AI goes back basically to tell this first AI basically the robot apocalypse is coming, and she's going to help him change key moments throughout history to avert the robot apocalypse. And at the beginning you meet her, she's a pretty girl that works at a little stage at a theme park trying to sing, because all AIs have like a mission to fulfill, and hers was to sing from her heart to make people happy?
No, it was make people smile, something.
It's something from her heart, because that's the big confusion.
No, she had
because
to do it with her singing, but as she developed, someone told her in order to sing well, you need to be singing from the heart.
At the end, it goes back in time, and you find out that her creator was trolling her because her mission was something. Her mission was literally something about singing from her heart, and the person's like, "Why'd you give her that? Like, the heart isn't a defined logical thing. Like, it's one of those stupid things that humans say, like, heart and soul. Like, why give that? Why make that the mission of like a logical cyborg?" And the girl's like, "I'm doing it for the lols, haha." So that's one of the plot points, is that her mission is something ambiguous and non-logical, and because that's why she's so bent up on it, and she keeps saying all the way through the series, like, what does it mean to do something from the heart? Because, like I said, her creator trolled her by making her mission singing from the bottom of her heart or something. But she and her little AI friend, each episode is like a point in time, so they usually say like this is actually like 20 years after the last episode, so it's not just a week by week thing. It's like, he's got the AI. What was the AI called? I can't remember. It had like a funny name. Matsumoto. It'll be like, that last adventure we had where we saved the world. That was actually like 50 years ago. I haven't seen you since then. I've been busy with my singing career.
I'm genuinely annoyed that every time he's just like, well, see you next time. And then he'd just go like full lip. Like,
I'm disappointed that in the first like 2 episodes he takes over a little robot stuffed bear to be. And that's like his quirk, but then from like episode 3 on, he's like a little cube with an eyeball, and that's all he is. It's like, oh, that's kind of sad. I liked
the bear to the bird who died in the plane's sister, because she was on the space station that was coming down, and she's just like, I'm gonna get rid of this bloody little cube dude, and literally goes, here, have this as a memento, and then walks away because she didn't want to have anything else to do with the bloody little.
Yeah, so the concept is
when he wakes up, he's like, hey.
So each, like I said, the story is like bookended on each end. So the first couple episodes are about what the plot is. We're changing moments in time to prevent the future. The end is the climax, obviously. Each episode is basically where Vivi/Diva is in her life/career, where humanity is in their thing. And then the AI pops up and says, this event is about to happen, which has an effect on the future. We have to stop it. And every single time, what he says is going to happen is right, but how it's going to happen is wrong. Every time it's like, the AI is going to go crazy and kill everyone. And she's like, no, that can't be right. That AI is a nice person. And he's like, no, that history says that he's going to kill everyone. Turns out it was a big misunderstanding or a red herring or something, and it turns out...
I mean, it wasn't a misunderstanding, it was like a deception.
Yeah. But every time it's like, that person can't be bad. Like, no, history says he is. I don't think he is. Oh, he wasn't.
Like, that was, like, really adamant in the space station episode. Where it's just like, oh, here's your descendant. Just so you know. And, like, she meets her and this isn't possible. Like, you've got your shit wrong. And then you find out that she's got a twin sister. It's like,
that was like some more interesting stuff. I feel like it had the plot of we have to save altered history, but then there was stuff about like what is an AI? How are they different to humans? Are they real creatures? Do they have soul? Like how does the lineage work here? Like they've sort of got siblings, and this one is a clone of that one. Like what does it mean to be a sentient creature? And it kind of touches on a lot of that stuff, which is interesting content to me.
As much as I did say I like this, I probably would have liked a little bit more focus on how humanity has changed episode to episode in the different time periods. Absolutely. And also her, like, there's a bit in the middle where she kind of stays the same kind of... She grows a little bit, but she's still the kind sort of dumb robot. Until she has another personality who is much different, but then she goes back to being the sort of dumb robot. So she doesn't really change or develop that much. I would have maybe found this a bit more interesting if you could really go to the first episode and the last episode and see just how far she's come.
The annoying thing about that is that she's restricted because she's the first say, even though technology's come this far, like, you can't say that, like, oh, but you got an update. Well, cool. What did that update do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, she'll in the first episode, you know that she's in a museum 100 years later, just as a novelty because she was the first of the first.
Yeah, I goes like that. Like, I really didn't like the last arc for like two reasons. One, they put her in a museum even though she's clearly a sentient creature, and like they basically put these sentient creatures in cages. It's weird. It's like, why is this happening? But I thought it was like massive spoilers. But like, even though they succeed, they still fail, and it happens anyway. And I thought it was a real cop out that for no real reason it was her song that she wrote that started it all off in this altered timeline, and then there was a big bad villain revealed in the end who was also doing timeline manipulate. Like, I think it would have been better if they'd cut that entire thing and they'd probably just succeeded, and with the we end with them getting to the day and nothing happens, a la Terminator
2 situation.
Wherever that happens.
Not Terminator 3.
Yeah,
It would have been better as a Terminator 2, but the show kind of devolved into a Terminator 3. Is what James is saying, I think.
I felt like I got, because like that.
Sounds like Terminator 2.
Or even if it ended, like, the end of episode 10, if it had ended there, where, like, she wakes up and everything is still fucked, like, that was probably, after the plane crash, like, the peak for me. I was like, oh my god, it's still going wrong. And then it was like, oh yeah, it was her song? Hands up, like, what are that shoulder shrugging emojicon thing? Like, what? And then it was like, it just felt very contrived of like, why didn't you just end it on 10 episodes or stretch it out a bit more? And like, what was the point? Like,
I think the point was they had to give her a resolution to her arc. If she just woke up and everything was fucked, it would be like, But I think it was the fact that it was supposed to be her evolution in her ability to be the first AI that created something out of nothing for no other reason that she wanted to. That was like her story. Even though, like I said, I didn't feel that she actually built up episode by episode. It was like she was again the same person, this dopey robot that kind of kept going, what does it mean to have a heart? Up until one point where she's just like, I'm going to write a song now. And it's going to be the key to everything.
Yeah.
But I think if they had just ended it with, oh well, everything got fucked again, then really there was no point to her or anything she went through, which I can kind of see sort of mattered in a show about
that
her.
Would have been funny just as a point of difference to how things normally end up great. But
and it ends with a guy going ba 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 wah.
If it had just ended with it not being fucked, and they'd done a Terminator 1/2, whichever one it was, and that was how, and like, we succeeded, whoop-de-doo, yay us, thumbs up.
My favorite, and I don't know, probably should have said early on that we're going to spoil the story of all these anime.
I think we did.
But one of the funniest things is, when the scientist is about to try and to his mind, send things back in time to fix things. And they turn up and they're like, yeah, we're the people that did that. Like, you tried and you failed. And he goes, oh.
That guy had such a sad life.
I'm gonna send. I gotta send this AI to save the world. No, wait, Doctor, we're here. You already did that. You fucked up.
Like he had like such an unnecessary. He goes to this museum as a kid and has no friends. So he befriends a museum slave that grows up. He gets married. His wife dies in childbirth. Then his child dies of unknown reasons 2 years before. His entire life's work of AI murders humanity, and then he tries to save it with the timeline thing, and it doesn't work. It's like, man, you've had a sucky life. I'm sorry, fictional character.
The dying of the little girl was so weird though, because they're in a super advanced. Assumably, they've got like a lot of high tech medical technology, and it's just they literally just go. Like, they meet the baby, and then at one stage later, he's just like, yeah, too bad about my daughter. And she's like, oh, your daughter? Did she die? And he's like, yeah, she did, off screen a while ago. Sucks to be her. It's like,
That's why I'm not. That's why I'm not concerned about her health and well-being right now in the middle of a fucking AI apocalypse, because she's already dead. So don't worry about that.
Like, they could have just made it that they never had a child. Like, the wife died tragically. It's like the baby wasn't even in it for any other purpose. It's just, yeah, she died off screen, sure. But I really like the animation. I really like the characters. I really like, you know, seeing the different time periods, and I thought the ending was all right in terms of how you finish off a story like that. Like, sure, that was all right. So I quite like this. This, I'm gonna say, this is definitely in my top 3. I'm trying to work out where I would put my top 3 in which order, but yeah, I would say this is my top 3 favorite. I'm gonna give it an 8 as well. It gets a point off for the line, "As you like my pleasure."
Well, that's because you don't like pleasure, Mowen. That's your problem. Don't take it out on anime.
All right. I did not watch this one. Did anyone watch this? Season 2 of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord.
I don't want to confirm in a public space that I watched most of this, but maybe I did. Who can say? It's bad. Like it is just watch hentai. Like it just go to the full hog. It's
on the cusp.
Yeah, and this
was good,
just
and then it's just what the fuck. It's like, oh look, we have these liberties now, and it's just like, please don't. Please don't.
That character
and we got
in the top right corner. That white-haired character in the top right corner. Like, there's a plot point where she's the high priestess.
Yeah, she's up.
Yeah, like her plot point is that like she's got a curse that puts like scars on her body, and when she gets more enough scars, she dies. It just so happens that those scars are on her upper inner eye, and so every time they show how scary is, and she shows them to people, you just get a good old panty shot of like, here is her vagina.
She might as well just be saying, "Do you want to see my cursed panty shot?"
Yeah, like, and
here.
then the black-haired cat one on the right, like that outfit is her starting outfit, and she gets one that's even more revealing because it has better armor qualities. It's like, what are you doing? Like,
if you play online role-playing games, that just makes perfect sense. So that's fine.
I mean,
that's it. That's the angle they're going for. Is that this is supposed to be in a game? Like, this is like, yeah, it's an SAO trope.
But
where he was sitting in front of his computer and he gets sucked in because he gets summoned, but because he's wearing a particular ring that repels all magic. The slave collars that the elf and the pantherkin have was supposed to be a slave collar that was put on him, and then that's the whole trope. And it's just like,
I've never been one for a harem anime. Like, harem anime is so dull, and I was isekai'd out like 2 years ago. So I just cannot be fucked.
Yeah, like season 1 of this, I reckon probably came out at the turning point where isekai went from being still a relatively fresh, squish take to now it's just dumb. And like this was probably the first one that got big, and they're like, oh, actually no, this is like even like the what is the name of those? Like you're hovering over one there where you were before. The screen's a bit delayed, of like those end cards, I think they're called, of like, you know, the characters doing stuff, and it's just lewd, etchy shit. Like, not even like funny. Yeah. It's just like they're covered in white stuff and like looking real blushy. Like,
yeah.
Why is this? Who is this for?
It's basically, all right, we're making an isekai. So either the main character has some weird power or weird profession that makes him better than everyone. All right, he's he's resistant to magic. I don't know. All right, he goes to the world. All right, now get to work drawing 4 or 5 scantily women characters that we can make figurines in lewd poses out of. Even if that merchandise only sells moderately, it'd be worth the cost of making the show. All right, let's go to the next one. Next season, new isekai.
just before I make the comment, what were your guys' thoughts on Overlord? I think it was the end of the first season of Overlord, where basically he was able to win just by using parts that he had lying around. Because
Overlord was an okay one back before I was ruined by the
Overlord was
genre.
pretty good, but I think Overlord was good because it came out in a particularly weak season. With the end of Overlord, is the end of season 1 where he pretends to be a swordsman and like fucks over a graveyard or something? Yeah, that was good.
Well, no, yeah, okay. So at the end, he's going up against one of his servants, and basically he's able to pay his way to win. That is exactly what happened in this season of How Not to Summon a Demon. And it genuinely pissed me off to the point where I stopped watching. Now, I stopped watching at about episode 4 because I'm so sick of that trope where, like, it's all well and good to say, oh yeah, I'm the best. And then, like, he explains why he's the best. But it still feels like he just paid his way to win. Like, it doesn't feel like he got it out of hard work or anything. In every episode, he's getting another girl on his shoulder, and it's just like, I've had enough.
Does anyone know what this one is? Combatants will be dispatched. I don't even remember this.
It was by the same person who I think was Konosuba, the same author.
Okay. I'm just going to go through the next, like, 4 because they're all the exact same anime. Isekai Harem number 2.
Yeah, I think this one was like the what are they? 2 of the girls are like they're generals or some shit. It was blah.
There's 3 of them. There's 3 like gods of war of some description.
Yeah, like they're from Invader Zim, but replace the 2 tall Zim people with 2 hot chicks, and then Zim is the guy.
They're not even hot chicks, man. You scare me when you say hot chicks because they look 14.
That's what I'm like. That's what they're meant to be. Like, I don't know who this is for, but like they're like, and then he gets dispatched on the world to take it over or something. Like, it's bad jokes. But there's some great clips of like where they've literally just I think it's this show where they've reused the art and designs from the author's previous work. Like, here is the city in Konosuba, and it's like a round city with a river going northeast to southwest, and there's walls. And here's the city in this one, and it's exactly the same, but there's a slight different color tint to it.
This is Harem Isekai anime number 3.
This isn't a harem. Like, this is a slice of life.
It's sort of a harem.
Way.
No way. She has a bunch of cute girls that follow her around as well. I did not watch
but
this.
She doesn't want to have sex with them. Like, this is a family.
No, but they want to have sex with her. There's a difference.
James,
no, like,
James,
2 of them are kids, 1 of them's a ghost. I watched all of this.
Can you buy statuettes of any of these characters in bikinis?
What? I don't.
It is that. Like,
do you think it's likely? Do you think it's likely that you can buy? Do you think it's likely you can buy figurines of any of these characters in bikinis?
Not in Australia, no.
If you can, which I'm sure you can, that means it's just another. Oh, and here's Slime season 2.
I don't like. I'm going to push back. I don't think you can have a harem. I don't think you can have a harem show where everyone is the same gender. I don't think that's how it works. Like, there has to be. You can have a harem, you can have a reverse harem, but like there is no actual sexual overtones or undertones with any of those characters and their relationships.
It was.
I didn't watch that one. Like I said, I'm isekai out.
It was.
So I just don't watch it. Are you saying it's wholesome? Is that a nice wholesome anime?
It's closer to wholesome than harem, and it's also barely an isekai. It's just a generic fantasy show, and it's like she's overpowered. She doesn't really do much, and then she gets a collection of family members of kids and sisters, and they do.
James, you had to go through great pains just then not to use the word harem.
What? Because I'm using the literal words they use.
Let's start a cult. That's exactly what it should be called. Like, let's start a cult.
Yeah, it's more of a cult, honestly, because she's fucking overpowered and just chill. And it's got a good message of don't do hard work. Hard work is overrated.
Do very light work over a long period of time.
You don't need to go through 12 episodes of what the fuckery. to go,
Yeah.
oh, maybe we should like take a sit
Actually,
back.
no, that's a very good point. I think it would have been much better as like a short, maybe even half episode length.
Just an over. Like, even if it was just 3 episodes long, but it was just, like, it was really well hyped coming into it. Unfortunately, it dulled out so quickly.
Yeah, it massively overstayed its welcome. Like, it should have been a shorter thing, a couple episodes, a nice, calm, I'll just watch this before I'm going to go to bed because I don't really want to think about anything. It's chill, there's no edges, it's fully rounded, safe, bland, milquetoast, fun content for whatever.
The only reason why I say shit is because it was just too long.
Yeah.
I gave up.
100% agree.
Alright, Slime Season 2. Did anyone watch this?
This is not Slime Season 2.
This is not Season 2.
Diary.
Oh, I do not care. It's
Slime
Diary.
It's
Slime Season. It's Slime Season more
of. So, like, this is actually important. So, Slime Season 2 is half done. It's on a break right now, and this is in between those two halves. And the makers of Slime hyped up there was going to be 9 months of non-stop slime, and then this was in the middle, and people got really shitty about it because, like, this is slice of life. I don't know what it is. Like, it's side story stuff. It doesn't matter. And the main story is in the middle of a huge fucking conflict.
I know Slime was big.
The timing is not good.
It came out, I think, when this isekai thing was a little... It's barely an isekai. Like, the fact that he was it a he? Was someone beforehand is only touched upon in the first, like, little bit.
Yeah, he got stabbed in front of his friends, and then he came back as Slime.
And I don't think it really brings it up much after that. All I remember of the show...
And he basically stopped being a slime after episode 2 because the joke ran thin, so they switched to just being a generic
The only thing I liked about the early Slime was I liked that he used like commerce and diplomacy to kind of build things up a bit. I liked seeing him build up stuff using it.
Went to shit,
and then I just stopped caring.
Beautiful.
I stopped caring about Slime, and I think everyone has overestimated how much patience people have for this franchise. I think a lot of people like me liked it at the start and then grew tired of it, but for some reason people just went, Slime is so popular, let's like make a lot of it, people will love it. And I kind of get the feeling that a lot of people are just not into it.
A lot of the arcs are really stretched out. They shouldn't be, right?
Yeah, this has some really weird pacing with their arcs, and like how they've chosen to adapt things into the 2 series, a split series, an OVA series, and then this side, like there's a lot of really confusing decisions that have been made that have really harmed it as a watchable show.
I don't know why that screen cap makes me laugh.
Part 2 is something that I'm really looking forward to because we're finally going to see Veladora actually do something.
Is that the dragon? Is that the dragon?
That's the dragon. That's the dragon from like.
That I completely forgot was a thing.
What's that?
Yeah, so
I completely forgot about the dragon.
Yeah. This kind of ties back to what we said at the beginning with Hero Academia. This really is a show where you need to wait until the whole season or at least a whole arc is done.
Yeah.
And then you watch it in one go because you can skip past all the faffing about. Like there was an episode in I think part 1 of season 2 where like a heap of people had just fucking died in the previous episode, and the episode was them all sitting around a table talking about what they should do, and then they did it the next episode. Like, there was an entire episode there that you could, and I did, just skip because it didn't do anything. And so, like, because the pacing is so bad, you really need to just let it build up and then watch a bunch in a go, and, like, I don't know, stream a game or play something at the same time so you can just switch on for the cool fights and catch the story up as it doesn't really go anywhere.
I do like that all the monsters just progressively become hotter girls. Like, everyone's final evolution is a big-breasted girl.
But he's like, the whole trope of him looking like a boy or a girl came up ages ago, and he's neither. He doesn't have any bit, which annoys everyone because they can dress him up however the fuck they want, because of that. And it's like, personally, it's just like, well, that's fine if that's what you want. But at the same time, it's really annoying where it's just like, oh, we found this frilly dress. We're gonna throw it on you now. It's like, really? Like,
You're doing
right
this
now?
again? You're doing this again? Come on, guys, move along.
Yeah. Like, he dresses more like a kid than anything else, which is fine. But again, like, don't
Like you've got all these complicated things of like his nation has all these different factions in it, and then there are like 17 other nations or groups and demon lords and fucking alliances. Like, there's all this.
We're finally getting to a stage where it's starting to get interesting. After all the fucking light.
Yeah. Why are you getting dressed into a goddamn bunny suit? Go back to the cool stuff.
Quick, find some more little dimpy goblins so I can give them a name so they can all turn into really hot waifus.
Oh, and it also
you mean like Gopter and...
It also really shits me that, like, the fire girl who he killed / saved in the first season, how her disciple, bracket S, close bracket, just all hate him for no reason? Like, come on, guy.
I'm so annoyed by that.
Like, that
because it was unnecessary. It was so unnecessary. Right? Because if she was such a devout disciple, then she would have known the struggles that her teacher had. Right? She would be asking the questions, not just outright, you need to die today. Like,
yeah, very frustrating.
You're not necessary.
Although, we haven't actually talked about the side stories, because I'm guessing, did any of us watch it?
No. This Demon Lord, whatever this was.
I watched episode 1.
The potion mixer and slime, I did not watch any.
I watched the animation and went, nope.
No.
Alright.
I'm sure I'll come around.
So yeah, I don't know about any. I just don't care about if it has the word isekai or if it mentions he died and came to another world in the first paragraph. I'm out. I am just out. I don't care if you tell me it's the best show. I'm just out on principle. Fruit Baskets ended. The new Fruit Baskets, which I didn't.
So fucking good.
I didn't watch it at all. I think I'll probably watch it now that it's all.
Around it. That'd be great.
I have heard that
it
might end differently than the original anime did. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the original anime was...
The original anime didn't end.
Didn't it? I'm pretty sure it ended. I seem to remember it ending.
It didn't have an end, I should say. Is that, like, yes, it did have...
Yeah, didn't they all live happily ever after? Wasn't that the point?
It had an anime.
It was open-ended.
Thing. Yeah.
Oh, didn't she end up with the orange-haired kid and they got married and they broke the curse? I thought that was what happened in the anime. I'm sure that's what happened in the original anime. Anyway, I didn't watch this yet. Now that it's all out, I will probably sit down and watch it at some stage. I'm sure it will be brilliant. I do not doubt that.
Season 1 was so good that it was not fair to watch it week by week.
Yeah,
like one of them literally have to be.
Like this is a show where I think every season I've like got maybe 6 to 8 episodes in a backlog. I've watched it all in one day and spent most of the day just crying. Was it just how much it tears at the heartstrings, and it's so great. It's like I didn't realize, like, I enjoyed the original anime because I watched it when I was a dumb new weeb, I guess. But watching it now, I'm like so happy that it's got a proper adaptation because the story is fantastic, and like this is probably the first show that has ever toppled Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood as the #1 ranked show that I think actually deserved it.
What are you saying? Who's ranking?
So
a general ranking, or are you saying your ranking?
Yeah. No, like my anime list, maybe like a couple of days ago, Fruits Basket Season 3 took the #1 spot from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I presume it's reverted back now, but like that was like this isn't just bloody Attack on Titan fans going real crazy for it. This isn't Gintama, Stockholm Syndrome people being Stockholm for Gintama. This is a legitimately.
Are you saying this is the true
show.
cultured gentlemen all coming together to actually recommend a good show?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Fruit Basket is the official anime of the cultured gentlemen.
Yes, and like this show is not aimed at us, and it's still fantastic.
What I like about the new the new season series is that they've taken all the things that the original one was so good at and just kept it in. So like the animation is quite similar, but it's updated, as you said. Like there's very with the episodes that were in that first, like in the earlier series, are still there without changing anything, but they open up on the aspects of stuff that you missed in that first series because they took it out. Like one of her friends actually being psychic to a degree. Like that's never explained in the original series. Like she's a weird girl who has vibes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the new version sticks to the manga a lot more closely. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think the original anime was made when the manga was still ongoing. Like it was in that era of.
Was that another a Full Metal Alchemist-ish situation?
Yeah, it's like the same thing. Yeah, where like the manga was so huge that they made an anime before it was done, but they couldn't do filler arcs like a shonen show. They just made an original ending, and then
did they keep the gender of the head of the family the same as the manga, or did they keep the person?
From memory, I don't think they ever said one way or the other, because I think that was a big shocking thing that was revealed long after the anime had finished. I don't think they just ever said.
No, because they changed the gender in the original series. I'm trying to be like really open-ended here, just in case you don't.
Well, I think it was just assumed he was a boy.
This is one that I don't want to spoil for people. Like I don't want to give any real details. Like,
well, all right. Well, we'll just say everyone liked it. I watched it, but I'm going to, and I'm sure it'll be great. You should watch it as well. The only thing,
absolutely,
the original Fruit Basket was such a touchstone sort of anime for a lot of people. I think it was the kind of show that was on like. What was that show called? Like Toonami? Or like TV shows where a lot of people who had never watched anime would get exposed to anime because it was on broadcast TV and like everyone knew it.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that
was like ABC3 back when it was good.
Not as many people are going to watch the new / better Fruits Basket than watch the original.
What was really good about the update is that it, even though it had nostalgic vibes, it was still its own story. Like, you didn't feel like you were being treated like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, this didn't shit the bed like the Sailor Moon remake. Like, this was like... Because I remember when this came out, when they started doing the art for it, I don't know whether a split community is like quite the right frame of it, but people who loved the manga loved it because it was more original, more true to it. But people who liked the original anime were a bit off because like it really changed the designs a lot. But I think everyone has just come together and gone, no, this is fantastic. We love this.
Thank you.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Do more.
Which again is one of the reasons why I put it on pause, was because I want to binge it from start to finish and feel the journey.
Yeah.
Not treat it like Boku no Academia, because it feels like that kind of anime. Where it's just like it's coming, like it will come to an end, and I will watch it.
Okay, so everyone go and watch Fruits Basket, both versions, and read the manga.
I can't remember how long seasons 1 and 2 are. If they were 13 or 26. But like,
it would have been 26 because I remember. I think that was the era where anime was just 26 episodes. I remember having the box set.
So not the original one. I mean like the reboot. How long seasons 1 and 2 were. But so it's ballpark, 50 to 65 episodes total. Yeah. And there are like two dozen fully fleshed out characters who have like pivotal story moments, huge growth and development, there's so much packed into the show. It's incredible.
Yeah. Like again, one of the reasons why I thoroughly enjoyed the first season was because they fleshed out two best friends, which is something that they didn't do in the original series. So it's like, oh, they're just her friends. But now it's like, no, they're her family.
What was her name? Toru? Is that her name?
Toru Honda.
Yeah.
Was that her friend, you mean?
Yeah.
No, that was her, yeah.
Was it the Yankee girl?
She's friends with two people that you wouldn't put her with.
Yeah.
And they feel obligated to protect her from the world because...
I just remember one of them is a Yankee girl, like a delinquent...
Yeah.
Like 1980s Yankee.
Toru's mum...
Oh yeah, that's right. Her mum was like a famous, biker.
She was a part of a motorcycle gang before she had Toru.
Maybe she was in a motorcycle gang with Jesse James and is it Tokyo Manji gang? That's what they were called from Tokyo Revengers? Yeah. Maybe they were all in a gang together. Maybe it's all shared universe. Maybe. You never know.
That would be horrifying, but okay. I like where you're going.
That's the side story I want to see.
Like, yeah, and then you find out that the other friend, who's the one that has the weird vibes, her whole family's cursed for some reason, and it's just like everything now makes sense from the original series. Like, the reason why she gives off like really weird brainwaves is because she actually has the ability to do that. And it's like, it's not that far-fetched considering half of the cast is actually part of the Chinese Zodiac. So, I like that aspect of the way that they've come into it and gone, you know what, we've got more episodes, let's flesh this out and do it properly.
And you know what? I was born in 1984, so I was born in the year of the rat. And growing up, being told, oh yeah, your year is the rat. That's kind of lame. I gotta say, Fruits Basket made the rat of the Chinese Zodiac a lot cooler than it was before. To the point that you almost feel good about being a rat.
Until you realize that one of the descendants of the rat caused the Black Plague, if you really want to think of it.
Wait, you mean actual rats? I don't know. Yeah, okay. Alright, so yeah. Basically, everyone should watch Fruits Basket. I haven't watched it, well, the new one, but I'm sure it's good, and I will watch it because now it's all out. Shaman King. Where can we watch this? I don't think this was on any Australians. If you were going the complete legal route, I don't think Shaman King was anywhere we could watch it.
Legally, we can't tell you we've watched it.
I've also never heard of this. It's all like 52 episodes long. What the fuck?
You've never heard of Shaman King?
Shaman King is another.
I mean as like there being a current version. Like this.
Yeah, there's a new version. So there was an old anime. It's another shonen manga series. I really like Shaman King.
Old, but it came out in the 90s, and the 90s doesn't feel like 20 years ago.
Except some parts of the 90s are 30 years ago. But anyway. Yeah, Shaman King is really cool, and I was really looking forward to this. And I just assumed it hadn't come out, but apparently it did, and I don't know where to watch it. So I'm sure I'll like it because I like Shaman King, and shonen battle anime are my favorite genre of thing. But I don't know where we can watch this.
Yeah.
So I can't really say anything. Except
the original series was fantastic. I haven't got an update.
So this. Rom Com where the childhood friend won't lose. Did anyone see this?
Tapped out like halfway through episode 1.
Okay.
I genuinely fell asleep about 5 minutes into it.
Okay, well I didn't watch it. Both of you tapped out immediately. It doesn't sound like
the guy who's standing in that pose, like he confessed to someone and is rejected, and so then he and his childhood friend hatch a plot to fuck them over by making them.
Isn't that the plot? Isn't that the plot? Isn't that the plot of School Days?
Anime.
It was not good.
Does this anime end with decapitation also?
I don't know.
I will watch it. I will watch it to the end if that's what happened. All right, so we'll just pass on that one. This is, I think, James, you mentioned this one before. The other one where a 30-year-old is in love with a high school girl for some reason.
Idea in the current, in our current time, especially in the Western world, where
I know I watched the first episode of this because I thought it was the other one, the shave one, because someone said that was going to be a good one. So I watched the first episode of this and went, oh wait, this isn't the one people were talking about. I'm lucky because I don't want to watch this, so I didn't watch it
again. It's one of them culture shocks where it's just poor timing.
Maybe, but like within the show, like unfortunately I think I've seen all of it. Well, I might have missed a few episodes in the middle, because who fucking cares? But like there's a chunk in the middle where like they actively talk about like the guy, the girl, her friend, his sister, the two other girls who were into him. That love is fucked and cannot happen. So why doesn't he just go for the other women throwing themselves at his feet? And like spoilers at the end, like his constant pestering and nagging and being inappropriate wins, and she falls in love with them. and they like make out in a train station in public. It's like, what the fuck?
It's a good
It's
message
bad.
for the
He's
kids.
married as well.
I just realized how many
So,
other anime are here, so we're gonna have to get a bit faster, I think. So, alright, not a good anime.
It's alright. There's, like, a lot of these are just...
Yeah, a lot of these we're gonna get through quick. Zombieland Saga. Could anyone be fucked with this one?
Season 1 was fine.
I hadn't seen season 1, so I went, oh, well, I guess I have to go back and watch season 1. And I think I watched 5 episodes of season 1 and went, this is fine. I feel like I'm forcing myself to watch it now, so...
Yeah, like the best part of season 1 is the first 2 minutes of the first episode, and then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like, whatever.
I can see that it's like, oh, ha, ha, they're cute girls. But they're actually zombies. That's funny. And I don't think there's anything past that. I'm pretty sure there's nothing past that in the first season. I don't think there's anything past that in the second season. If you like cute anime girls that are disgusting rotting corpses in their downtime, I'm sure this is for you. But I don't think it's...
Typically, it would be for me, but unfortunately it follows the idol trope. So it's more about the idol side and being a zombie.
What the hell is Ultimate Next Gen full RPG is even shittier than real life.
That was bad.
It was bad. Is it an isekai?
No, he buys. It's a Sword Art Online.
Okay, it's a sword. It's a sword online.
Yeah,
All right,
not bad.
hard pass. Marimashita Iruma-kun second season. Anyone?
Yeah,
I've heard great things
absolutely.
about it.
Highly recommend. Highly recommend.
You're highly recommending it?
There's, I don't know about you guys and your slice of life sort of animes, but this one falls in that beautiful category of like slice of life, well, high school slice of life.
I don't even
Like everyone,
remember seeing.
it's in the netherworld. It basically transfers over almost like just going to a new school where you don't know anyone, and then you just sort of form this like really kooky style of living, if that makes sense. Like it's one of them you have to watch, and you will thank me for it.
Was this on any service? Because
I believe this one was on Crunchyroll. And it came out on Sunday night. Saturday morning. Sunday morning at 4:30, I think.
I can't find this anywhere. It's not on Anime Lab. I can't find it on Crunchyroll either.
Yeah, I don't think it's been licensed for you Australians.
Okay, so okay.
Bear with me. I will find it because I have been watching it.
All right.
It would be really weird if I turned around and said, "Hey, I've been watching it. You should watch it." But where is it?
Megalobox. Who liked Megalobox? I actually really liked this show. This is one where I had to go back and watch the original Megalobox before I started. I really liked the first one because all the art was exactly the same as Ninja Scroll and that kind of really old 80s anime, which I really loved. And it was a standard sports boxing anime that, you know, had all the beats and things went well and you liked it. But then season 2 actually got a plot and it was alright. So I liked it. I give it a thumbs up. Did anyone else have anything to say on Megalobox?
I liked season 1. I didn't like anyone as a lot of my friends did, but it was good, and I thought it closed really well, and thus I had no interest in watching a sequel reopen what was a well-closed box.
I haven't seen it.
All I gotta say is, yeah, like, the first one is a stock standard sporting, you know, the underdog wants to be good, he has to fight, you know, progressively more powerful, and things happen, like he falls out with a character and he gets back with them and he beats people and he has a connection to the... It's a stock standard, but the sequel actually has a plot to it. The sequel gets itself a nice sort of plot and actually plays off the characters and their emotions, so I thought it was good. Cool.
And the other anime, just going back, was called Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun.
Oh, maybe that's why I couldn't find it.
Yeah. It is on Crunchyroll, and you should just trust me, it's worth watching.
Iruma. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Wait, there are 4 seasons of it, or are they 2?
There's 2 different seasons.
Okay, there must be 2 seasons cut into 4. Okay.
And season 2 just continues on in the best way.
Okay.
Like it, yeah.
All right. Next we've got Eden Zero. Did you think that Fairy Tale was the blandest?
Yeah, that one.
Blandest
No, right.
white bread,
That's based on a
disgusting
game.
mayonnaise series. Do you want
Based on a
something
game.
even worse and more watered down? How about Fairy Tale again?
Space Meat stuff. Who cares? Whatever.
Fairy Tale
Like,
again,
again,
except not. That's not Natsu. That's
based on a
the main
game.
character from Eden Zero. That's not Happy. Actually, it is. It's fucking Happy. He's called Happy. That.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, is this actually by the Fairy Tale guy?
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is.
Yeah.
This is.
This one.
It's
Yeah,
it's
who
Fairy
cares?
Tale, except it's Eden Zero.
And
you
even
like?
then, Fairy Tale was his second crack at the exact same thing because he had the one before it.
Hold on.
Pretty sure this is the one before.
No, this is the new
the one
one.
before started with was it Radical or something? It started with an R.
No wait, it's Fairy Tale.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. So look,
Fairy Tale.
is she called Lucy?
T-A-I-L.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. Why did he bother changing Natsu's hair? He's just gonna draw. It's like he goes, "I'm gonna draw my new protagonist," and he sat there for ages. He drew Natsu's body and face, and then went, "Oh fuck, I'm just drawing Natsu again." Fuck. And he sat there for an hour until he drew some black hair and went, "Oh no, that's a different character."
It's
Fuck.
90s kids movie.
I've been here drawing for like 8 hours. I've got fuck. I'm just gonna draw the rest of the characters again. Fuck it.
Like, you know that particular artist who only had 2 faces for guys in like kids animated films back in the 90s. That's what that is.
So
They
fuck.
basically
Rave
recapped
Master.
the same thing.
Rave Master was his first one. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't
I didn't
know
watch
how Fairy Tale
Yeah.
became as popular as it was because
Yeah,
it was- it was
I'm
Fairy
criticizing
Tale.
the guy for doing the same thing 3 times, but they've made a lot of money. Fucking congratulations to them. They've got a scam going. I'm jealous.
I do. When in the golden years of me and you, James, attending other conventions, I was always kind of embarrassed that you were the head of the ANU anime club, and everyone sort of saw you as the cultured anime fan, and we attended events as the creators of the Canberra event. But then you would sit there and watch fucking Fairy Tale on your laptop, and I was always very embarrassed by that.
Yeah, because it was the only thing that would work on my iPad for the bus ride. Fairy Tale, because it was in an MP4 format,
And I remember,
which I legally acquired.
and I remember,
And then I remember I tried to watch it and I was like, this is fucking stupid. This is the
And
same
you'd be
thing
like-
again.
and I'd be like, why are you watching that? And you're like, the characters have big boobs. Shut up.
Oh, simple times. Simple times.
All right. Moriarty season 2, which I think we were discussing before, wasn't licensed anywhere in Australia, so who knows? I didn't really watch Moriarty season 1, even though I was like, oh, I would watch that because it's kind of based on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was on anime.
Yeah, the first one was, but I don't think the second one was. So.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of just bored of the idea of, let's take a well-known villain and make them a hero, and they're not actually doing bad things; they're actually doing good things, but in a bad way.
I think it's one of
whatever.
those shows where I went, oh, that might be interesting. I'll wait until afterwards, since there's like a billion shows now. If people rave about it afterwards, I'll go and watch it, which no one ever did. I don't think I heard anyone ever mention it. So
Yeah, because it had a split season, so this is the part 2, so it never finished. And so I was, yeah, we'll see.
Shadow House. Anyone know what this is?
Yeah, I watched the first 3 episodes, and it was interesting, but it was like kind of a bit of a not a horror vibe, but like a creepy suspense vibe. You're like not sure what's going on. It's like it's a world where like everyone there are like rich, I don't know, like people who are like English upper class styled, but they're all like shadow people, and then they have normal looking people who are like their servants / slaves who act as like their faces because you can't see what a shadow is doing with its features because it's just black. And so like there's a bit of thing like the main girl's shadow. It was interesting, but it was very slow. People seem to have liked it though, so
I don't remember seeing this, but what you've said in the description actually kind of makes me a little bit interested. Maybe I will go and watch this.
It was very different. So, like, I'll probably go back and watch this because I've not seen anything like it before. And that way, when it's repeated in 4 more shows in the next 5 years, I go, oh, this is just like Shadow's House. Who cares? Unoriginal.
Cultured swine.
Nathan, did you watch Shadow House?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, take that as
grab my eye.
a sort of recommendation, and I will probably go and watch it. All right. Meshiro no Oto, or The Snow White Notes. I had this as my favorite anime until about 5 episodes in, because I didn't know how much I actually liked shamisen music until a couple of moments in this anime. And I thought, wow, this is cool. This is like, he's going on an adventure and he's going to go through people and places and find his sound and learn what music and soul is. And that's sort of how it starts out. He leaves his dead grandpa, and his dead grandpa leaves him with a message like, you know, you can't play until you've figured things out. And, you know, he meets some girl in the city, and he moves somewhere else, and he finds his mom. But then he lands in high school and he makes the shamisen club, and the rest of it is just him and the shamisen club prepare for a concert.
He doesn't start it, someone else does.
Someone else does, but like...
He just seems to go with the flow.
Yeah, so about 4 or 5 episodes I was like, I really like this show. Like, I like shows when, you know, it's about some sort of, like, you know, dance or music or art or some sort of pursuit, and it's about discovering the soul and discovering yourself. But this really hit a point where it's like, it's kind of a high school drama now.
Like, it's really weird when, like, you see a show like this. It has so much promise to it, and it's just like, oh, again, we can go against the norm. Like, because there's a lot of traits that come through every season where it's just like, oh, this is just rebranding. Like, and this one looked like it was finally going to go against the grain, be a bit more like Your Lie in April. Where it was just like a really beautiful story from start to finish, like gives you all these raging emotions. But then, as you said, I think it was up to about the last 5 episodes, where he's finally starting to get the competition bug, and it's just like, what the hell are you doing? And that last episode, I felt so
empty,
pissed off at an anime, because it's like you've literally taken something really good, put your butt cheeks against it, and spat as hard as you could, because you just decided to give someone who has emotions, like actual noticeable emotions that he can't represent, and all you give us is frustration. Like, oh, I didn't win because I changed my sound halfway through a song. You couldn't, like,
they got him on a technicality.
Well, that's just it. His character development was never to be a tournament player.
Yeah,
right.
I got really frustrated with where, like, he's like, I don't care about tournaments about winning. I care about the sound. And then it just dovetails into, oh, well, in order to find your sound, you need to compete in a competition and maybe win. And it's like, no, that doesn't make any... Yeah, like, that's entirely against what this character's about. Like, I also found that I don't like
journey was based around his grandfather's sound. And he finds out that when his grandfather was his age, he literally travelled to feed himself. Like, that's where his grandfather gets his sound. So I was hoping that that's the trait that he was going to go down. And be, like, meeting all these people,
That's more what I... To say that, yeah, his grandpa adventured around, you know, playing shamisen to try and survive. And that's how it starts out. Like I said, he goes to the city, meets a girl, and the boyfriend, and they have a little thing. And then he goes to this place, and his mother's there, and they have a little thing. And then he goes to high school, and he meets the people, and they have a little thing. I wanted that to continue where, all right, he leaves high school, and he goes to another small town, and he learns a lesson, and he plays his stuff there, and he goes to somewhere else. And it's him learning, and but like I said...
instead of being like this tournament... this tournament hierarchy, he's this shadow player who just rocks up in places to play. Like, that would have worked with his character so much better. Would have been better for the development of his own, like, emotions, I guess. Because he expresses himself through Shamisen, not through results.
I don't know if they really had a message specifically in mind. It kind of got a little bit muddled what he was trying to do, or...
And then, I genuinely felt angry at everyone involved on that last episode.
Like,
because...
4 or 5 episodes in, I was surprised. I'm like, I'm almost ready to call this my favorite anime of the season. But now, afterwards, I'm just bored of it. Like, it went nowhere. Like, I don't know. He sat around...
Again, they could have done better things, better, brighter things. Like, personally, like, a modern nomad is something that appeals to me personally, because all he wants to do is play as Shamisen. Like, he doesn't care if it actually affects anyone. He just wants to play for himself.
Well, sort of. You kind of got that feeling, but they didn't take the story to any place to really test that or really explore that.
And I'm so pissed off.
So, 4 episodes in, I would have given this a 9, but at the end, I think maybe a 6 or a 7.
I would put it under 5. Just because of that ending. Like, it pissed me off to that degree, that again, it was looking like one of the best series for the season, and then they just defecated all over.
It's definitely worth looking up on YouTube or something, finding clips of his Shamisen moments, his little Shamisen performances, and you actually realise that Shamisen can actually sound pretty cool, and it's pretty cool, some of the content he puts on. But
especially when they start commenting on, like, the technicalities of what you're actually hearing. Because instead of coming across as layman, like, they explain why it sounds. But moving on.
I don't know what this one is. The Saint's magic power is omnipotent. Seijo no Mariokuba Banno desu. I didn't watch it.
Is by far my favorite.
Oh, you like this one?
Thank you. I was worried because I saw it got a 7.2. I was like, oh no, am I out of touch? This show was fucking great. I loved it.
I stumbled upon it because it came out on Wednesday. It was the only anime to come out on a Wednesday.
I don't remember seeing this.
And then I genuinely fell in love with it.
I don't remember seeing this anywhere. I was hurting for anime that came out midweek because all my stuff came out on the weekend.
If you're going to do
Mowen, you would have not watched
this is how you do it.
Yeah, so Mowen, you would have not watched this because it has the word isekai in it, and it is an isekai.
Oh, that's probably why then.
All isekai are trash. The trick is that if the isekai's protagonist is a girl, it's fantastic. They are an order of magnitude better than the male
Okay,
ones.
so I've got a couple of questions.
It's so good.
It's a isekai. Is she special / has some sort of weird power or profession?
She grows it. She isn't given it immediately.
Okay.
So
is it a reverse harem?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
There's a very clear love interest established immediately.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And she's not the only one to come from our world.
So there's someone with special powers, but it's unclear who's the one who has it. And they've basically had
cleared
the
up
powers.
about episode 7, and it's fantastic. I highly recommend it.
Okay, well the art looks pretty good.
You are, it is, like, there's just something about the way they executed it that just makes sense. Like, it's not heavily focused on the royal family, for instance. It's solely heavy on her and her immediate, like, the immediate people that she's surrounded by, because she gets written off in, like, the first 5 minutes, and they're just like, so you're here now, what do you want to do? And then she's like, oh, like, I used to be I think she was a, what do you call it? Herbalist. She used to study herbs as a hobby. So they throw her into, like, that equivalent over there. And she gets this little room, and basically she's never treated like more than what she is until they start realizing that she's not normal. But even then, they don't jump to conclusions. They just see how she develops over the time. And by far, it is #1
And
Obviously.
no revenge rape in this one?
No.
Okay,
Did
good.
I have to think about that? Yeah.
Alright, well I'm gonna have to put on my list to watch because I think probably because it says Isekai, I just went no and just skipped it. But like I said, I was hurting
Again,
for something to be on midweek, so I probably should have. This is something I feel
I
like I probably
genuinely
should have.
it was one of them hidden gems. Like you look at the
Okay.
artwork and you just go, oh, it's essentially a Studio Ghibli film, but it's not.
Alright, I will put that on my list to go back and watch.
And basically, the people who are arseholes get treated as such, and there's no that word between anyone at the end. She's just happy to do what she does.
Cool. Alright, I'll put that on my list to watch as a recommended. Mars Red.
Nope.
I started
Yeah.
watching this. I think I watched 4 episodes. And I don't think it was bad. But I don't know.
Bland, I guess is a better word.
Yeah, I
Bland.
think I didn't mean to stop watching it. I think I just forgot to watch it one week and just completely forgot about it until literally right now. It was
Now,
about...
typically, I avoid anime lab because I don't think
Don't say that. They sponsor
most
stuff.
are good.
Anime Lab is
I
by
don't
far
care.
the best streaming service in Australia who support
I'm more a fan
local
of Funimation
events.
in Australia and New Zealand, to be honest.
Oh yes,
Anime Lab is dead now.
and Anime
this-
Lab is dead.
this
Long
anime
live.
was-
It's anime life.
Yeah, this anime is set like in pre-World War
It's
One,
set
maybe pre-World War II.
1920s
Like, it's-
Tokyo.
Yeah, like this is a very problematic time in Japan's history, and they never. I'm always weirded out with the things they set and do here. It's like, you guys were the bad guys in this time period. Don't try blame it on vampires.
I don't remember them apart from
Really?
the fact that it was like the military. I don't remember them really saying much, but they're vampires and some of them are more powerful than others and they're fighting maybe other vampires / other people maybe. Like I said, this is one where I didn't hate it, but I literally just forgot to watch it one week and then it disappeared from memory. So that's my recommendation, is that it's so forgettable that literally I forgot about it. Maybe it's got a really good ending. I don't know.
It's got a 6.7 on my ML Lab. It's not good.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on from that. Okay. So Odd Taxi. Odd Taxi is my favorite show of the season.
Yeah, it's probably number 2 for me. It's great.
I keep looking at it, and unfortunately, it just still keeps.
It's definitely one that just doesn't look good. If I would never have watched it if someone hadn't recommended it to me. Because I looked at it and went, that looks kind of crap. All right, it's the story of a short period in a character's life where a lot of interconnecting characters have little plot threads that all run through each other, some more related than others, and people sit around and talk about that stuff a lot, and also stuff that doesn't really have anything to do with anything. Some characters have nothing to do with anything, but they're in it, and they'll talk and they'll do stuff, and...
Sounds like Lucky.
Sorry?
Well, the stuff that doesn't have anything to do, it does tie in later on. Like,
some of it ties in,
they have some linking threads that are unexpected.
Yeah, it has some linking threads, but like it's not one character. It's like, oh, that character knew that character, and they were friends and they talked. Oh, okay. They're linked, but it doesn't have any real relevance to what's going on. And I think I don't know whether I guess we spoiled everything else, but I remember when we went to Sydney, James, I said to you, I had a suspicion of a plot twist in this, and I was proven correct.
Everyone's dead.
Yeah, it turns out that they all died, and they didn't know they'd died, and there was a kid who can see dead people.
Did I genuinely just get that?
No, you didn't. It's not really a story, a twist in the story. It's a twist in presentation, so I'm not going to spoil it because it's just kind of more fun to watch it. But yeah, so it's about a taxi driver, and he kind of gets involved with some criminal activity through sort of no fault of his own, but you know, it turns out a lot of characters he knows or passengers he picks up have some sort of connection to the stuff, and it's just interesting. Like that's the thing. It's just interesting. It's not big and flashy or romantic or sweet or it's well animated to the point it can be. You know, they're all talking animals.
Yeah, like it's well animated, but it's an unusual art style. So like
Yeah, you know, it wasn't going for grand sweeping scenes or you know flashy fight scenes or anything. It's a bunch of animals in their daily lives. It's fine, but it's just interesting. The characters you kind of like.
Yeah, and I'm also pretty sure this is also an original story. So again, that's kind of why it worked so well because it's been made for the medium and like it's paced properly. It's got a lot of characters, a lot of storylines. It's they interconnect in ways you don't expect, and then it kind of just folds out really well.
Isn't it just really sad that that's the case most of the time? Is that when they do have source material, there's more of the content that you need in the show ends up on the floor because it ends up being too long. But when you've got something that's original, it's just like, well, fluff it. We're going to do what we want.
Some of the best anime are based off something, you know, and then you have like Zombieland, which is made for, and it's fine, but you can't say that, you know, Zombieland is inherently better than anything. So it's a mixed bag. It depends on the source material and how well it's adapted. Like there are some things that are adapted poorly for no other reason, but I think the people doing the anime adaptation just had a stroke halfway through. Like fucking Promised Neverland. Like that's
we don't have time to talk about Promised Neverland.
That's just down to the adaptation. That's nothing to do with the fact that it's based on a manga. Anyway, so yeah, Odd Taxi looks weird. It looks like a kids show, but it's not. It's interesting.
Good for kids. Kids should watch this, definitely.
I don't know whether SSSS Daidenzanon.
I've heard good things, but I haven't watched.
Well, you haven't watched this, Mowen? I would have thought because this is all about like gotcha.
Yeah, this was on my list because this is based on an old show that was adapted to like Power Rangers. It was a tokusatsu show that was adapted to, and it was called VR Troopers, I think. Was it?
Isn't it Gridman?
I think that was the original.
Because this is sort of a sequel. Well, I don't know if it's a sequel.
It's a sort of sequel, but it also adapts some parts of the crappy American adaptation.
Yeah,
and I remember reading all about it.
Must have been 4 years ago was when SSS Gridman came out, which was real popular because it had the main female lead had huge thighs, and that was like Thirst or something before Thirst was a thing, a meme. And then this is kind of the same thing. I didn't quite have the same popularity.
This was. I'm just trying to remember why I didn't watch this, because this was on my list from a long time back to watch.
Yeah, I watched the first.
I honestly don't know why.
It was fine, but it's just not a genre that I'm interested in. Of like, hey, there's the 5 teammates with each with a robot thing. We need to work together to solve whatever the angst is this week to defeat this week's monster. Rinse and repeat.
Well, yeah, as someone who legitimately every now and then goes and watches like Super Sentai, which as cool as it is straight up a kids show. Like it's something I'm interested in watching as a sort of more mature take on the concept. But I don't know why I didn't watch it.
Every time I see a big mech show that's aimed at kids, I just think of that one anime from Power Rangers who was an actual porn star and couldn't even act well enough for a Power Rangers show.
Oh, Scorpina, I think is the character she played.
That's horrible.
So, did you say you only watched a couple of episodes of Dyna Zenon? Dyna Zenon, I think. James, did you say only the first few episodes?
I think it dropped out again.
All right, we're gonna put that as maybe a recommendation then. Duran, the Princess of Snow and Blood. I didn't watch this.
I've been waiting for this one to finish because apparently it's really good. Or apparently not.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, yeah, Dinosaur is fine if you like that stuff. If you don't like it already, don't bother because it's
so
too far in to start.
What's the stuff?
Like the fucking Gatchaman, Gridman.
Oh no,
Tonkatsu,
we're talking about drawing now.
That one off.
Okay,
Drawing.
okay.
This one is weird because like it has an interesting idea and stuff and like world concept. Like it's sort of like a secret underground a government department with like these agents who have magic powers or curse powers, and they're trying to hunt down a rogue agent guy who's doing some shit. And then, like in episode 5,
I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, and like in episode 5, like almost all the characters die, and they solve the inciting incident for the main character. And then it's like, okay, now what? And then it spins its wheels for 2 episodes, and then I stop watching.
Okay.
So maybe it ends well.
Okay. Well, that was a pretty good synopsis. If that interests you, go watch that one. Did anyone watch this? Shakadetsu. Kabaddi. Burning Kabaddi.
I watched episode 1.
Is it volleyball or is it basketball?
No, it's kabaddi. Kabaddi's a sport.
Oh, is it?
It's weird. It's a weird sport, like it's really popular like India and Indonesia, I think.
Okay.
It's a bit of a silly sport. It's a I don't know, like it's a generic sports anime with a different sport as its twist. You know, they're all fit-looking Bishonen boys, whatever.
That one's watch.
Do you want to explain the sport? Because it's real weird. But I don't know.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to look up Kabaddi. Oh, let's get a look at what...
Like, basically, it's like group tag, but the thing is that...
Do you kick people in the face?
You only play... Like, the player who's it has to be saying, kabaddi, 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 like, until they run out of breath. And that's how long a round goes for.
Okay.
Like, it's very strange.
I'm looking at pictures of the sport, and I can't see... I can't make head... There's not a ball involved?
No, so it's tag.
And it's like 5 against 1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 against 1?
Yeah, so the one in a different color, they have to touch as many other people and then get back to their safe zone before they run out of breath.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's an odd sport.
Okay.
There's nothing particularly good or bad about the anime. Like, if you like watching unusual sports, then give it a shot.
All right,
If you general sports drama.
If you like pretty boys and expanding your horizons into unconventional sport, it seems to get a recommendation under that premise.
That's based on 1 episode. I don't know if it goes good after that.
Okay. Super Cub.
Absolutely, highly recommend. Anyone
lovely
to mellow out. Like, number 2 for the season.
Okay, well that's a pretty high recommendation then. Is this like
No, it's not Kino's Journey, no.
Sorry?
Coming from someone who lives in the Adelaide Hills, right? We're surrounded by all these beautiful roads that you can just drive down, just for driving down.
So what do you say then, James? Were you about to pick out the anime I was about to suggest this might be like?
Yeah, it's not like Kino's Journey, no. It's not like that. Just because
no, there was another one. In terms of it just being about a journey. What was that show? It was out a couple of seasons ago.
It's about a young girl who's like feels like she's nothing in this world. Right? She's so empty. She doesn't have parents. She lives on her own, and she doesn't have any friends. But then one day she notices that someone has a scooter and rides like a motorized scooter and rides it to school and that. So she then goes to the motorcycle shop where I need help. And every interaction is very minimal dialogue to start with, because like it makes you feel.
Okay, so Super Cub is a brand of bike.
Super Cub's a bike. It's a type of bike.
It's a Honda. And it's, like they stretch back. Yeah, basically, it just makes you feel good for all the people who interact, because no one's negative. But at the same time, like even from the last episode, she feels alone. Like she feels like she doesn't have friends when she obviously does, but she doesn't feel it. But she feels like her certificate is what let her branch out to talk to people.
Okay, so
yeah, like there's no metaphors here for like anime fans being like lonely people without lots of social connections, getting into a weird and expensive hobby with which they make friends with other people who are also into this weird obscure hobby that's very expensive. And
yeah,
like
she
what are the
doesn't
things
approach anyone. She gets approached.
it sounds like a little bit of a chicken soup for the soul type anime.
It just made me feel good watching.
Yeah, like it's clear. It's a really well handled like isolation and depression. Like one of the things I really love is the way that they use color and shade. Where like it's very like when she does things, like it's very obvious when she experiences happiness how things suddenly brighten. And like she's riding the bike, she's drinking coffee with friends, whatever.
But it's so subtle
before that, the degradation of that stuff over time, in the lead up, you don't notice that things have become mute and that she's shutting down and she's not interacting and like she's failing to have social conversations, and then it just spikes. And you're like, holy shit, like it's so well done.
Like one of my favorite things is when she does meet her, you'd say first friend, right? And she's got her own club, which was originally a postie bike, and she's like this Greek head trying to make it as powerful as possible because she just decided one day that she's going to climb Mount Fuji on this. And you feel like she can do it, and she's just like this weird gearhead. And with her and the protagonist, the two of them just blend so nicely together that you can understand why the one that feels depressed doesn't see her as a friend. But in saying that, like, because their relationship is like so well meshed together that it's just like, hey, we should probably like get our bikes ready for. Let's just change the oil in our bike. This is what we should be doing. And those small little conversations that may not seem like anything to anyone just really make you feel like she's just happy to talk to someone.
All right, well, I've put it on my list of things to watch because that sounds interesting.
The main character is dirt poor, and if you've ever struggled financially, you can feel her pain of like going like, I really want to do this thing with my bike, but I cannot afford it. How do I make it work? Like, you know.
Just for emphasis on her actual like outgoing personality, she normally takes cooked rice and a little sachet of curry or something in a lunchbox. Now, she's the sort of person who wouldn't ask to use the microwave in their classroom. She would rather just eat it cold, away from everyone. That level of acceptance to her dark side is something that really hits my heartstrings because I understand that. Like she's not bothered to
not bothered to go without as long as she's not inconveniencing anyone.
She doesn't want to be noticed and cause problems. She just wants to be invisible in the background.
She doesn't want to be a hindrance.
Yeah. So, my only criticism of the show is that I think it introduces another character towards the end, and it's a bit silly what happens with her, and it's also kind of not really well fleshed out. And there's a few odd interactions between how she interacts with the other two and what she does. That was just a bit like this seems a bit rushed.
It definitely did. It needed a bit more time. But like you see how cold the protagonist is when she saves the said person, and how she doesn't show any emotion. She just wants to get the job done.
Yeah.
Like her first thought is throw this bird in a bath. She's been in a creek for God. But she calls the other one up to go, hey, can you just pick up the bike? I'm taking her to my house or a bath right now. See you later. Like,
yeah. But yeah, it's very good.
Towards that entire situation.
All right, I'm gonna watch it after this. You've all convinced me. All right, Bishonen Tateidan or Pretty Boy Detective
Pretty Boy
Club.
Detective Club.
Okay, what are the first 3 rules of the Pretty Boy Detective Club? Rule number 1, you have to be pretty. Rule number 2, you have to be a boy. And rule number 3, you have to
need
be
a club.
So this is a show that someone told me had the kind of energy of Oran High School Host Club. Which was a filthy lie because it doesn't. I really like the animation. I really like the colors. And the premise is sort of a little bit Oran High School Host Club, but I only watched this maybe 5 episodes before again I kind of dropped off. So there is too
judgy, mate.
There is a part of me that kind of wants to go back and see how things ended up, because I can't say I disliked it. I think I just expected more out of it than it was gonna give me.
Well, if someone's gonna say that it's like an all-time favorite anime, mostly, like, I can understand, rather than just a rinse wash the thing.
I did like the kid whose entire thing is he's got nice legs. I thought that was funny. Maybe it gets better. Like, I can't say it was good. I can't say it was bad for the bit I watched. And then maybe it gets better. Maybe it gets much worse. But I couldn't stick with it. But like I said, there's a little voice in the back of my mind that says, "Why don't you just watch the last 8 episodes or whatever the hell I had left? And, yeah, just see." So there you go. A bit of a mind worm.
Yeah, like this isn't aimed at us. It's not a surprise that none of us really got into it. It's fine.
No, this is the sort of one that I'm sure if you're a 13-year-old girl, or like an art student, or
if you like looking at pretty boys, you will like.
Yeah, if you like someone who likes looking at pretty boys, then, or just the colors in the show was really, really striking. If that's your thing, then maybe watch a few episodes, and if it's not your thing, just go and watch Oran High School Host Club, or at least watch the opening on repeat for a few minutes.
just to get it out of
in love.
Okay, Baku-10. I didn't watch this straight up. It's gymnastics. It's gymnastics. It's let's make a sports anime, generic sports anime on something that hasn't been done before. Roll the dice. It's gymnastics. Here's the gymnastics anime.
Take what I said about kabaddi, cross out kabaddi, put in Baku-10, and it's the same thing.
I'm not gonna. Anime has become a part of our culture where it's a medium that's really easy to get people interested in things, because you can kind of fluff it up without people buggering it up for you. Does that make sense? So, let's say, Ayaku. I bet you a bunch of people got into volleyball because of that.
Yeah, these kind of things have their place. When they like I said, roll the dice and land on sport or activity A, and they make generic anime about it. Like, if you get into it, if you get into that activity through anime, then great. If it's something you already like, and you relate to it, then great. Like,
it annoys me that they dumb them down for non-anime watchers. Like, give us something that the veterans will enjoy.
It depends.
But
some
at the
don't.
same time, you can recommend it to someone.
Like, one of my favorite shows from a couple of seasons back was the dumbbells. How heavy the dumbbells you lift. That legit had some pretty good training techniques on how to do the various lifts and stuff. So some of them aren't dumbed down. Some of them cover the topics relatively well.
The reason that one was so good was because they actually gave it flair, not generic sport. You know what I mean? So that's
okay. So this is The World Ends With You, the animation. I didn't watch it, but I love the shit out of the DS game. I don't even know if this was licensed anywhere. I don't think it was licensed in Australia. But
actually, no, I think that's another one that was from anime. Just I'm pretty sure I did see it.
Oh, well, like I said, I really liked the game. The game was amazing. And I'm not sure why I didn't watch it if it was just on Anime Lab. Because
I tried to watch this and it was just didn't seem interesting. Like, there's been a dozen battle royale shows.
Don't mince your words.
Like,
tell us how you really feel.
who cares?
Maybe it plays
Like,
better as a game. Like, the game is from like 15 years ago, so maybe.
Yeah, like, it's not a great battle royale show. Like, I can't think of one. Nor is it a so bad it's good one, like King's Game, or fucking that one from last season that was on Netflix, or that other one from Netflix from like a year ago. Like, battle royales are kind of like a bit tropey. Like,
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I think the advice there is just I think they've remade the game lately. Like, just go and play the game. It's probably better. Godzilla SP.
Like the watch list because it was released on Netflix.
Yeah, that's on my.
So
As a big Godzilla fan and one of the only people in the world, it seemed, that really liked the other Godzilla Netflix show. That's going to be on my list to watch.
I'm sorry, like I watched the first one and thought it was fantastic.
I liked it all. I really liked all of those, but I found out that a lot of people really didn't like it, so I don't know.
Well, they're all idiots because they don't understand the concept.
Dragon Wakao, or Dragon Goes House Hunting. I heard a lot of people really like this. At least
A lot of people liked the first couple of episodes, and then it just ended up being the same shit, different.
when people told me what the concept was, I said to myself, if the entire season is just that over and over and over again, then I can see that people are just going to get really bored of it.
Yeah.
And that kind of, maybe it sounds like that was the case.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
I can see James trying to talk, but we can't hear him.
I felt like it came across a bit the same as I spent 300 years playing a slime. It just meh. I don't know.
People told me that the dragon was cute and the dragon was relatable.
Doesn't matter.
Wow, there's so much stuff still to go. Let's just see if James can. James, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you have opinions on Dragon Wakao?
It was bad.
Okay.
As someone who's trying to buy a house, this privileged piece of shit can fuck off. Like, stop crying about not problems and grow up, you stupid wanker.
All right. Well, I guess not everyone thought it was charming and relatable. Then apparently.
Nah, they are wrong.
Seven Night Revolution.
That was bad.
Bad.
Didn't watch it. Look at it. Look at it. Of course, it's bad. Look at that.
Yeah. All right. I'm judging it on this book by its cover, but that does look kind of. All right. Sayonara Watashi no Kramer. I think I would just be disappointed when I realized that it's not an anime starring like Kramer from Seinfeld, which instantly is the best idea there ever has been.
You should be less of a fan of people who hate the Jews, but all right, that's fine.
Kramer doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
No, Richard. What's his name?
The same studio that did Your Line, Nathan.
This show was great. I don't know why it's ranked so lowly. Like, it's kind of a generic sports anime, but it's like seeing girls' sport, women's sport is so refreshing, and it's very.
That's probably why it's below that.
Yeah, probably.
Because
but like the way that they work
as don't get the representation.
Yeah, like the way that they work as a team is so different than the way that it works for boys' teams. Like, there's none of that aggression and competitive. Or there's a bit of that, but like they're all interesting characters who aren't archetypes or tropes as with other ones. They're all unique sort of things. They're all normal people. Like, they're all, prodigies at a sport, but they're not like Kuroko no Basket, like literal superpowers. Yeah, it's really good. Weirdly, like, because I think it was like 13 episodes, and then around episode 10, a prequel movie was released, and it was like, what the fuck? It's a bit weird.
Again, I try and stick with it.
Yeah, like the problem with it, I guess, is that like it's it's a sports anime, and so it's gonna need 150 episodes to tell the story, and so it only does the beginning, and so you're like, okay, well, like, now what? I guess I need to go read the manga.
At the start of the season, but being a sports anime, it's not one you can episodically.
Yeah, like
you just sit down and binge it.
And, there's that inevitable thing where, the last 30 seconds of the game takes an episode and a half to go through. But, it's sport. It's a sports anime. I think this is probably the best sports anime of the season, and probably the one I've liked the most since Haikyuu.
Why would
that's high praise enough that maybe I will put that on my list. Though I am really disappointed that Anime Cream is not in it, because that's all I can think of at the moment.
Again, we fully support Jewish people. They are lovely.
No, it wasn't.
Like
it wasn't.
else.
It wasn't.
Mowen's views did not reflect mine, Nathan's, or GAMMA.CON's.
It wasn't the Jews he had a problem with on stage. It was black people.
Oh, whatever.
He might also have a problem with. He might also have a problem with Jewish people. I'm not sure. But he had a famous meltdown.
Just get rid of your Kramer love, Mowen. Let's move on.
All right.
Thank you.
I have no idea what this one is. Yakinara Mug Cup Mode.
Pottery Club. It's like a half length thing about a girl who does pottery. This is like part of. This is like a broader conversation, but like, there's a lot of money put into the anime industry by the government to like promote rural areas so that people go and live in them and don't just live in Tokyo. This is one of those.
Okay. So propaganda.
About pottery.
Propaganda to live in regional Japan. Got it.
Yeah. Like it's charming. It's you put on because you don't want to think hard. It's like 10-12 minute episode. It's fine. Whatever.
Now this is the one where, for AvCon, the Adelaide Anime Convention related purposes, I was putting together content which, for various reasons, took me to hentai sites to find clips of hentai that met certain criteria, not as bad as it probably sounds. And I'm sure this is a hentai that was listed on hentai sites. And reading the description, I can't see that it's not a hentai. So did anyone watch this hentai about a sex-swipping protagonist, I think? When he woke up, he turned into a girl? Question mark.
No, this is something that's been coming up over the last like 6 to 12 months, where it's starting to do like some really mainstream gender bending.
It looks like that this guy and his friend pick up chicks. He accidentally turns himself into a girl somehow, and now his friend is trying to sleep with him. That's the gist I get. But like I said, I'm fairly certain it's a straight up hentai. So I guess go watch it if that's your cup of tea. Who am I to judge?
Well, that's just it. Like it's a weird avenue, but at the same time, like, where do people come up with it?
Blue Reflection Ray.
Nope.
James?
Started watching this. It gave sort of similar vibes to Yuki Una's a Hero, or maybe a bit Madoka. Not as good.
Is that
5.1 sounds about right.
Is that art style? Like, I can't really see the. Let's say that art on that little preview kind of looked okay, but now that I've looked it up.
Yeah, it's an unusual style. It's a very like not washed out's the wrong word.
It's like a washed out, slightly better looking Ruby. Is this a 3D? This is a 3D anime, isn't it?
I guess it's somewhere between like typical anime and like Ruby animation in terms of the style. It just didn't really go anywhere. Interesting. Like, there was some they're all magical girls, and some of them have gone evil, and some of them are better than others. And one of their mentors had some weird injury that they don't talk about that makes it difficult for them. Yeah, like kind of like Madoka, not as good. I stopped watching on episode 3 or 4. The fact that it's got a 5.1 1 or something on my emotions. I'm probably not going to go back and watch it.
Okay, every time I scroll this page, I've seen this guy, and I have no idea what this is, but I don't know.
This one's on Crunchyroll.
I don't know.
This is terrible. This is
but
terrible.
just that picture of that guy. Every time I scroll the page, I saw it, and I'm like, I got to know what this is. He looks.
This anime is like what was it? No, similar to Exxon, but Exxon was its own special case. This is more just really showing that the anime industry is making too much anime, and it does not have enough people to actually make the number of anime it's making. This is like a
they're going like
this just looks awful. Like this looks.
It is bad.
This looks like Berserk.
I hate
16.
3D. Like
yeah. That's
the only decent 3D that I've seen in the last recent years was Berserk, and that's only because Berserk's
what?
Bloody anime.
That was terrible.
That was the worst thing humans have created.
Bad.
That set
the only thing that that's what I'm saying, is that the only thing that carried that anime was the plot. Like
I can think of three good 3D CGI ones, but they are the exception of the rule, and this is the rule. It's just bad, and it's just emblematic of like they need to pay people more to do anime better.
They need to trim a couple of shows off the. Like there are way too many shows. That anime shouldn't exist. Like it looks crap. It's low rated. It's right at the bottom of a season that's already like 70 shows. Like just trim shows like that. Like
cut your lot. Like
just look at what you're releasing and say, yeah, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should just cut it back and make this other season a bit better rather than. All right, what's?
Yeah, it's the same thing with making shonen like 500 episodes plus. It's
what's
like
Fairy Ren?
Do you have to?
Yeah, of course you do. Let's not start talking crazy here. Fairy Ranmaru, Anata no Kokoro Otasuke. I don't know. Anyone know this show? Anata no Kokoro Otasuke Shimasu.
I don't even think I've actually seen anything to do with
I've never seen this
Yeah,
before.
I saw this.
Oh, was it good?
I saw one episode. It was bad. I saw like 10 minutes of one episode. It was. This is again. It's Fujoshi bait of like a bunch of pretty boys of different styles doing things, and like they go around helping people fix the problems in their hearts for like a mission from heaven. They're all angels who come down. It's pretty Blair.
Okay. Apparently they're still making Vanguard.
Sure.
Okay.
Fine.
Battle Athlete. Anyone know this one? Battle Athlete?
No.
No, it's not even Battle Athletes. It's Battle Athletes. Battle Athletes. No, no one.
No.
Okay, Yuki Yuna wa Yusha de Aru Churuto. It looks adorable. I have no idea. Apparently they made an anime based on that popular little toy that I've seen.
Gloomy Bear.
Yeah.
Gloomy Bear.
They made an anime.
I went to watch it, but I think it's 3D.
Okay.
So, from memory, I think it's only about 10.
All right. Well, of that screen, is anyone familiar with anything on screen right now? No. All right.
That was like the bottom of that.
All right. So
Yeah.
that's. Is there anything? I don't think there's anything else worth. Some of
It was
these.
just a really lackluster season. Ooh.
There's way too. No, I think that's all the Chinese stuff and all the other. Nah. It's not.
Does anyone watch Chinese?
Oh, did anyone watch Kaguya-sama OVA where I forget what her name is in a swimsuit and everyone went mental over it because she has big boobies and she was in a swimsuit?
That sounds normal. The only other thing was the May Dragon Season 2 shorts that were on YouTube, sort of. Kobayashi's May Dragon. I didn't like it as much. I didn't like May Dragon as much as everyone else seemed to, but the shorts were fun. At Speak 3D CG, I found like the episodes are like, I don't know, 60 seconds long, So the intro was about as long as the actual content, and the intro content was like a really interesting looking 3D CG redoing of the characters, and like I was really impressed at the non-verbal, subtle communication they could do through facial expressions in the introductions, and then the content itself was fine. Like it was just the same thing, but just like 30-second shorts. So I would recommend watching the introduction scenes for the Red Dragon shorts, and then ignoring the rest of it because they were really interestingly
Oh, is it
done.
this Mini Dragon? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Mini Dragon,
Yeah.
I think it's called.
So ongoing stuff. There's the usual.
Oh, and then there was
suspects.
also the movie that came out in Australia a couple of weeks ago. Jose the Tiger and the Jellyfish or something.
Say what now?
They got Jose anime movie. What was it called? Jose the Tiger and the Fish.
Okay, I don't
it was
remember
fine.
seeing that.
I think I know the one you're on about. Is that the
Yeah.
one that also got released?
Possibly. It's about like a guy who's like a diver, and then he ends up helping to take care of a girl in a wheelchair. Pretty.
It was
Bit
released.
of a rom-com
Yeah.
drama. It was fine. It tried to have like 2 twists too many, so none of them really had enough time to really have the full impact. But it was sweet, and you know I like seeing anime movies in cinemas while those still exist.
Just really
What?
quickly, you guys knew about the continuation of I'm the Spider, So What? Has anyone been following?
No, because
I'm
that
aware
was.
of it.
I'm aware. I mean, no, it's another isekai, so I just did not.
Yeah.
Not. What's this? Was there a? Is there a
I've never
Gamma.Stream
done
OVA?
Like the thing with I'm a Spider, So What is that it's the exact same like twist, joke, etc. as Slime, where it's isn't it funny that the main character is this weak thing, whereas Slime stopped doing that after 2 episodes because the joke got old. Spider kept doing it.
I'm not gonna lie. It did come across more like Slime than it should have. But
I also
you'll find that a lot of people are fucking pissed off with the developers of that anime.
I also
because-
absolutely hated the voice actor for the Spider. Like they were screeching almost as bad as Black Clover Asta. I just couldn't stand the voice.
Okay, so apparently there's a Danmachi OVA, and apparently this is what it looks like. Any Danmachi fans?
Yeah.
Sure, I
That's
guess.
new.
I mean,
I don't.
No,
I
that's
didn't
too
know
much.
there was an OVA, but apparently there is one.
yeah, it's on my.
I can't remember that. Or do I?
It came out like 3 weeks ago, I think. I haven't got around to it.
Did it? Okay.
No.
Danmachi seems to have kind of run its course. I feel it's.
Yeah.
They fucked it up by saying that he's the grandson of a god. He didn't get his skills by merit. He got it by.
I might give it a watch for reasons.
Big boo.
And then I think that's pretty much all for this season. Apparently, this show, the House Husband, it's Netflix.
It's fantastic.
Apparently, that's good.
It is.
Uh,
That is one that isn't an anime. It's actually an animated graphic novel. Highly recommend it if you are aware of what you're walking into. It is really funny, but it is episodic, not continuous. But at the same time, like if you really take in what the information is telling you, it's fantastic.
Did anyone go and watch the Detective Conan movie? Apparently, I remember seeing that actually went to theaters. I didn't go and see it, though I kind of meant to. But yeah, apparently, you could have gone and see the Detective Conan movie at actual theaters.
Looks like his mic dropped out again.
Yeah, well, I think we're about finished. It's 11 o'clock. I think we've talked about practically every one of the 50.
The only one I can think of that we haven't talked about, it's not Carpet. I've not seen it, but I've seen clips of one shot of it all over social media in the last week and a bit. It's like something Ragnarok. And like there's this shot of like an Aphrodite being held. Where is this? because it's not anywhere
Netflix.
that I've seen. Yeah,
It's
so
on
like
Netflix.
I don't know.
It only got released like within the week.
What is it?
Called Ragnarok. Not that. Yeah. That's right, Ragnarok.
There's too many things called Ragnarok. Is it an anime?
That's right, Ragnarok anime.
Oh, this.
Like,
Oh no, I have
it's
seen this
right.
has popped up when I've opened Netflix and gone. Yeah, all right.
I refuse to watch it because
Yeah, I've heard people saying it's either fantastic or it's terrible.
There's a
but
couple
I'm
of
like,
these
this
type of
kind
shows on Netflix
I'm
now.
genuinely getting annoyed at how much fighting anime is going on in general.
I don't know.
I got
Considering
annoyed that they brought Bucky.
considering how much I
Yeah,
like
right.
Bucky, I can't say that I can be angry at the amount of this on Netflix.
It just seems that the only anime that they want to have on their platform is purely stadium fighting. So you had like Ashura, I think that was what it was called, Bucky, Ragnarok. I had the one that it had a really good plot, but it just fell apart at the end. Megabot is on there. Like, it just.
I don't know.
seems
I'm kind of digging the art style though, and the character design I'm seeing here. I think I'm gonna watch this.
Hey man, if it's your cup of tea, it's your cup of tea. I can't like. The only outside influence that they've got is what do you call it? Seven Deadly Sins, and that, with the change of the animation studio, just really ruined it for a lot of people in the third season. So now that they got the new arc that came out, it's just like, well, what's the point? Like, your big fights are just going to be written off as standoffish and whatnot.
See, there's a
Godzilla was good. Thank you.
there's a relative mix of Netflix original anime. There's not really all.
That one.
Which one?
Back up a little bit. Really slowly, because there's a bit of a lag. Right.
Okay.
See the one with the guy with the helmet?
Oh, that one.
Yeah, that one. What's that one?
What is that?
That was fantastic, but the end of it was good. You can go away.
Cannon Buster? Cannon Busters?
No, that was a cartoon.
Oh, I don't know.
If you get a chance to watch
When
Yeah,
is
like
when
one
is that
ultimate-
second season of Beast Stars coming to Australia?
the middle of July, they haven't got it up saying it's worth the wait.
I think every other country has seen it. I think we're behind the.
That's because, like, if Netflix buys something, they have the right to release it whenever they. Just it. Like, it got annoying with Bucky because normally I would watch that on It's Anime because you get it by the week.
See, Netflix have got a fairly decent selection of older anime now as well. I don't know if that's good that they've got a bunch of stuff to watch, or whether they've licensed it away from other places. But there's a lot of decent stuff to watch on Netflix now.
Questionable. Like they seem to get the highlights and take them and not the.
Anyway, I think we're going to call it there because it is 11 o'clock, and like I said, we have gone through pretty much all the anime, all like 50 seasons.
It's only 10:30.
Fuck up.
Maybe we'll do this at this time at the end of summer.
We'll see you in 3 months, boys and girls. Is any in the chat? I don't know, probably not.
One of them.
So, what the fuck is
It could just
this?
be the fairness we've been talking for the last.
But yeah, key takeaway message: watch Azumanga Daioh, anime of the year.
Yeah, watch Azumanga Daioh, watch Fruits Basket.
We watch Supercut. Oh,
Oh yeah. Oh, all right. So, just to finish things up, first of all, what the anime season overall? What would you give it as a rating for overall?
3.
3. That's not too.
It's fine. I don't know. Whatever.
I'm gonna give it a 7 overall. And my recommendation is to watch Odd Taxi, Vivi, Fluorite Eyes, and what else did I say was my top ones? Tokyo Revengers. Those are my 3 recommendations.
Yeah,
Tokyo Revengers, Vivi, Fluorite Eyes, and Odd Taxi. James, what do you recommend people watch from this season?
If I'm limited to 3, I will say Saint's Power is Omniscient, Watashi no Kramer, and what was the third one? I'll try not double up with what you said. No, that's bad. That was bad. Let's go with... Did you say Fruits? I'll say Fruits Basket.
All right, Nathan. What are your 3 recommendations? They don't have to not double up. Just what are your just overall 3 recommendations from this season?
Super Cub, Welcome to Demon School. Because it's just a perfect continuation of the original series and the original season. Like, I feel like even though you don't like Iseki, like you personally, I think would find it really wholesome.
Yeah.
As an anime.
If I've got time, I might have a look. I've got a couple of recommendations here to try and watch before the new season starts.
Yeah.
I didn't actually have that one. All right. Well, there's too much anime these days.
Yeah.
This is way too
like
much.
I said, it was a trash season. Like,
So
you
that's
get
something else
some where
we do.
there's like 12 animes where it's just like, this is ridiculous.
Let's go back. Let's go back 10 years. Let's look at spring 2021. What did we get? What did we get then? All right. So we got Steins Gate. Oh no, Exorcist.
I like how you go. Let's go back 10 years to spring 2021.
I meant 2011. We're going back to 2011.
Is that something you need to tell us?
Steins Gate is pretty good. Dead Man Wonderland was alright. Nichijou was good. Whatever episode of Gintama that was is fine. What else did we have 10 years ago at this time? Tiger and Bunny?
That was fantastic. I don't know what that was. Like, it was really good.
Burai was here. Second no Quasar. I don't remember if the second season was any good. I think the first one was alright. Toriko was still a thing. Wow, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexor. I thought that was one that just came out recently and I didn't care about, but it actually came out 10 years ago when I didn't care about it. There was an X-Men anime apparently.
Which one?
I don't know, it's just called X-Men.
There was a big storm about 10 years ago where you had like Wolverine, X-Men, and there was another one. I think it was Blade.
Alright, let's go 10 years before that. 2001. Wow, Digimon Tamers? Noir? I remember this show. This show I think was significant because anime became popular around this time. This is really the time where anime sort of became popular. And there were so many seasons from like the 90s that were popular that, you know, Madman as being the only... They could just trickle out all the classic series from the last 10 years. I remember Noir being one of the first, like, let's try and promote a show that's just come out and is not like one of the classics. That's what I remember Noir being kind of significant for. Ooh, Angelic Layer. That was... James, are you still here or did you drop?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
We can now. We're going back in time and just seeing... Galaxy Angel.
I think essentially like on 2011, like there was 6 good shows and then a lot of garbage. Like I think the ratio of good to bad is the same now as it was then. There's just so much more.
About half size.
Oh, Comic Party. I remember
The
that.
notable thing was just how much shorter the list was.
Yeah, like you still had the 6 goodies and the maybe 10 baddies.
My little
And so it's a case of now, like rather than have you'd have 6 goodies and say 18 baddies, so like 1 good to 3 bad. It's still the same now, but it's just that no one has time to watch 20 good shows, so the other 16 of them are just forgotten, and we all remember the 80 bad ones because they're bad.
My little brother's anime journey began and ended with Steel Angel Kurumi. I remember when we attended one of the first AvCons, like, my brother's not into anime, and he wasn't beforehand, but for whatever reason he bought from, like, literally the first AvCon, maybe the second, Steel Angel Kurumi, which was a harem anime about a young boy and these, like, robot girls. And he liked it, and he was, like, I guess, starting down the path to weebdom, and then got Steel Angel Kurumi 2, which is kind of the same premise, except the animation is worse, and it's a girl protagonist, and he hated anime, and has hated it ever since. So yeah, my little brother's anime journey was started by Steel Angel Kurumi, and then ended by Steel Angel Kurumi 2, in the space of about a year.
Like, that's how you do it, guys. Just make sure Japan knows. Don't fuck it up.
And oh wow, there was like next to no shows in that period compared to now. All right, I'm gonna go back even further. Let's go back to 1991.
I don't think it's going to exist.
No, we're here. City Hunter 91.
No, they probably had some like good movies coming out there.
Wow, is that all that came out in spring 91?
Is that Speed Racer?
Oh,
I don't know whether like the seasonal concept would even have existed that long. Because back in those days, it was you would make a.
Well, if you look at this,
there would be 6
Dragon Ball Z.
37 episodes, 50 episodes, 51 episodes, 37, 41, 39, 51, 37, 115,
But they
20.
probably went until they lost.
Okay, well that's new. That's stuff that started. But I think if we go down to stuff that's going, yeah, Dragon Ball Z was still running. Ranma 1/2 was going. What else is still running at this point? That I recognize. Better.
There's like a mad delay on my end.
Wow. Wow, if you were an anime fan in 91, it was slim pickings. Fuck, I wonder if I can go back. Can I go back to 81? Is that going to be here? Wow, it is.
Whoa.
Look at that art.
Oh, so good.
100 shows with 12 episodes.
Dude!
Is that what Megalobox is based on?
Captain Harlock. Yeah. That was like some of the coolest shit.
Alright, I'm interested to know how far back I can go now.
Captain Harlock.
Let's go back. See if we can go back to 1971. Let's see. Wow.
About 3 different spin-offs.
Okay, if you're an anime fan in 1981, you were treated to Sasurai no Taiyo. And
how cool is it that we've had anime for over 50 years?
Oh, there's the Ashita no Joe original series, which. All right, I want to know how far back this time machine ride goes. That doesn't seem right. Spring 1961, Instant History was the only.
Oh wow!
All right, I think we've gone back as far as we can go. I don't think it's gonna.
But how cool is that we've had anime for just 50 years?
All right,
and
so
it's going as strong as it is.
All right, well, a big thank you to my cultured gentleman for sitting through and going through every. It's a bit. I kind of maybe. Like, I feel like we were really getting into some of the stuff early on, but then when it became apparent just how much stuff there was to get through, it kind of became a bit more, let's just get through this, which is a bit annoying. that's 3 hours of discussing anime. And I think we really just like skimmed on a couple. But anyway, yeah, thanks for coming to my stream.
But I don't think we skimmed on anything important though. Like it was all pretty bland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first couple of shows we really talked about for like a good long while, and at the end it was just like, ah, shit, we got so many of these to go through.
Like
I think we're at the hour mark.
Yeah. Like if someone watched all the way to when we got to like their favorite anime at the 2.5 hour mark, which was ranked number like 5.1 out of 10, and that's when we got to it, and we gave it 2 sentences. They're a big enough fan of anime to not give a shit about what we think.
Yeah,
all right. So I will leave you with the magic words, "As you like, my pleasure." And tune in next week. I'll probably be doing something else. So see everyone next week. Goodbye.